Platforms of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, Wednesday Night Motorsport. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world. Welcome to those of you that have been patiently waiting in our YouTube feed at the moment. Of course, we checked in with that a couple of minutes ago. We saw an early comment in there from Thorn Weggett to suggest that, yes, there were a couple of people in the house before we'd even hit the go live button. You won't be disappointed tonight, though, ladies and gentlemen. A full night of sprint racing, a full night on the continent that has just, of course, recently been the epicenter of the football universe, the FIFA World Cup. We're in the United States at Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin first up for the third round. Yes, third round. Christ, the season's getting away from us, isn't it? So quick already. We've got, of course, the third round of the merch.tgsrci.com BMW M Sport Challenge. Then we'll head our way over to the Chicago Street Circuit, which, of course, hasn't been getting a run in the real world of late, but it lives on beautifully in the sim world, of course, for the latest round of the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. Zach Cabot alongside Andrew Neil. We've got championship points on screen there for you. John Merritt leading the way right now, 211 leads. Adam Funslow, 173, 157. Eduardo Zamora, 156. Ben Snell, and 153 for Jeff Adams, just 9 points clear of Guy Leach. And then Richard Brookfield on 135 points, two back to Christopher Henn, Luke King, and also David Baz make up the top 10. Now it's exciting because we've got 4 races for the price of 2 tonight. Tomorrow night we have 5 for the price of 2. Neely will be here for the Porsche Sprint round, which we're looking forward to bringing you after the Formula V main course on a Thursday night. Good evening to you, mate. Our first opportunity to team up on a Wednesday night this term. You weren't here for week 1. I was away with Porsche Pro Commitments week 2. And it's a bit like that throughout the course of the season. As many of you will know, I was on the blower earlier in the week trying to source some replacements in the booth for me here tonight. We'd managed to do that. I went to the people that were trying to lure me away from this commentary box to go and do some ground announcing for them and say, listen, I apologise for the slow reply and the delay in getting back to you, but I wasn't able to assure you of my availability until midnight on Monday night. They went absolutely silent, so therefore, as a result of that, I've slid back into the booth. The good news is, should Jordan Pianazzola want to jump in, he's going to do some play-by-play commentary with me. And definitely I can confirm that Dale Sharp's going to sit in for the Supercars with us as well. Big thanks to those guys for their efforts last week. Big thanks to them for offering to be on standby, ready to jump in and have a chat with Andrew Neil tonight if I was to be absent. But it's good to be here nonetheless, and it's good to have I guess the phone ringing, wanting me to be in 2 places at once, and also good to know that we've got people that we can fall back on should I need to be elsewhere as well. So with all that said and done, Andrew Neil, good evening to you. Road America, and 37 of them. Geez, we're in for some fun. If you're there, Andrew Neil, that is. I can't hear you at the moment.
Oh, was that a cue for me to talk?
He's playing into the booth as well. Yeah, that was a cue for you to talk. But if you don't want to, Jordan Pianazzola's here, so I'm sure he'll talk in your place.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Zach. Great racing at Road America. Love the BMW, so I look forward to seeing what the racing holds for us all.
Oh, absolute carnage and chaos at the start of Wednesday Night Motorsport, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Jordan Pianazzola, good evening to you, mate. Again, thank you for being on standby to take the reins if I needed to be elsewhere. It's nice to have that fallback option should we need to implement it. I just hate that we didn't have to, because I feel like I've been cocking everybody around without any sort of certainty and assurance. But thankfully, on the straight and narrow we go. BMW Sprint Racing. You tore it to shreds last week, I'm reliably informed, and I'm looking forward to teaming up with you again. You haven't seen the big wreck that you've been waiting for with these cars just yet, which is a good thing for our race control stewards, in the sense that everything's been above board and equal and fair. But Road America usually does bring with it the opportunity for some carnage, not least the fact that we've got sprint racing as well.
Yeah, good evening, Zach. Nice to be back again. Yeah, a couple of nice words from me doing it last week, but yeah, I think I'm, as much as I'm obviously wanting some of the BMW drama, the drivers obviously never want that, neither do race control, and we just want obviously clean racing and some good side-by-side, and hopefully, yeah, Road America can give it to us. Obviously a lot of track for them to use here, so we'll see what happens.
Let's see how I go with the following in the space of a minute and a half. On top of the points table at the moment, John Merritt, 211, Adam Funslow, 173, Eduardo Zamora, 157, Ben Snell, 156, and Jeff Adams, 153. For those of you that are joining us a couple of minutes late, that is the top 5. The track and weather settings, 11 o'clock local server time, 15 km/h winds, west tending northwesterly at this point in time, 24 degrees the ambient, 72% humidity, 34 degrees on track, partly cloudy conditions above, and the grid looks like this. Andrew Dyson, the dominant force of just about anything he's jumped behind the wheel of late, is on pole position. Alongside him, John Merritt, Luke King and Adam Funslow, the second row, Alex Barrelon and Ryan Jones, the third, Mark Heppel, Chris Hedden, the fourth, Richard King and Jeff Adams from 5, Adam Proctor and Richard Brookfield from 6, David Basco Leach from 7, Oscar Haynes, Hilton Booth from 8, Eduardo Zamora, Adam Lavis from 9, and then a new name, Rowan Kabardia, and alongside him, James Katia on row number 10. Philip Hambley, John Baldwin from 11, Tarek Alani, Greg Heaney from 12, Nathan Michael and Jordan Dakin from 13, Adam Raff and also Joel Hansen from 14, Russell Gander and Aaron Bryan from 15. Dale Sharp will be in and Jordan Pianazzola will be out at the end of this. They're going to roll reverse. It's going to be Sharpie behind the microphone and Pianazzola behind the wheel. He's on row 16 alongside Callum Heinrich, Mike Fisher, Kevin Wakefield from 17, Brooklyn, Bretton, Thorne, Weggett, Mitch Wood and Brett Bradbury make up the field, but I've got a feeling Thorne's in race control and Mitch Wood might be as well. Ready to fire at Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin, the first of 2 for the night, the BMW Motorsport Cup. Let's go! Beautiful start from Andrew Dyson. Merritt bogged it down, moved across immediately to try and cover up the attack of Luke King. Alex Barrelon and Adam Funslow were swapped spots already. In fact, Funslow is not even registering on my timing sheet at the moment. Now it's corrected itself. Down to turn 1 we go. And through for the first time. Funslow, I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe packet loss off the start. He's down 32 spots. The rest of the field make it through the first sequence of corners cleanly. No Mitch Wood on this starting grid either. And of course, as I already detailed, Thorne Weggett watching on from race control. We're in for about 6 laps here in this opening race. Jordan, give or take. And it's going to be rapid fire. And it's going to be compulsory viewing every step of the road here. Remembering, if anyone buggers it up in the first race, they do get a second bite of the cherry. But this is one of those circuits where you don't want to be making work any harder for yourself than you absolutely have to.
No, not at all, Zach. Road America, it does give a couple of more opportunities to overtake compared to Okayama last week. Seen a couple of moments in the background here already, some side-by-side bits of drama, but Merritt, obviously the guy leading the championship going into this after the 2 rounds so far. Him and Dyson, obviously Dyson's been, like you said at the top of this, he can hop in anything and be quick, so those two are the ones to watch. What have you just noticed?
Mark Heppel's gone. Heppel's plummeting down the order at a rapid rate of knots. That would have been out of turn 6 on the run up towards 7, 8, and then the carousel at 9, the run down to the kink. Here we go. Commitment plus through there, Dyson and Merritt. Merritt keeping Dyson on us for the moment, though. Be a little bit greedy with that ripple through on the exit, but the king, the run down to Canada at turn 12. So Heppel's dropped down the order. Funslow's unaccounted for. Fair bit of trouble on that opening lap, but it's all been single vehicle incidents rather than all in sort of crashes and collisions, which again makes life very easy for race control. The cars sound like tubers that can be tuned. Oh dear, very nice. From Hard Stuck there on our YouTube, straight up on the main straight. 6 spots, the biggest mover in the top 15 at least. Nathan Michael up 8 spots, has come from 25th to 17th. So too Aaron Bryan from 30th to 22nd. And Jordan Dakin with 6 positions gained on the opening lap too.
No big piles of drama or single driver incidents, but nice and clean at the moment. We just need Road America to do its thing and give us some more action here in some of the battles.
Turn 1.
Turn
Turn 1. have a look at that dust out of turn one. Can we go back to turn one, please, Andrew Neal? Just have a look at Adam Wavis. He's in a bit of trouble. Adam Funtime has finally got aboard his machine, so whatever that was, packet loss or otherwise, he's now back in the server. I can see him sitting in pit lane patiently at the moment. Let's have a look at Adam Wavis now. Has he been served up? I think so. 3 wide into 1. That's never going to work, gentlemen.
No, never. Not on that tight of entry at all, Zach.
It's a little bit greedy on the inside there, the Northwind Motorsport entry, I think, and race control form. I don't know how he's going to feel about adjudicating on that this early in the piece, but I think it's a very straightforward sort of adjudication process that he'll be following. We're 2 laps in, turn 1, maybe finally someone manned up and did the thing. Andrew Dyson, 2:34.044. So let's see where we are relevant to full flying lap pace when they come back around, and we'll do some calculations accordingly, remembering as well, mate, there will be, for the benefit of our audience at home, a compulsory pit stop in that second race. So we're probably committed to 10 laps in that second race, and there's Craig Davis chipping in as well. Does a nice whiskey, that bloke, and of course he is the senior of the Waver stable. Trent, of course, and Adam, his 2 boys. Adam, of course, our broadcast director. Trent, a regular racer in these parts. Good to have Craig tuning in on Wednesday night. Lap number 2, almost in the books. And what's most pleasing, and at the same time also not surprising, Jordan, Andrew Dyson hasn't broken clear of the pack the way that he has done in the GT1s so far this season. He's carved up in Supercar. He's doing the double tonight. It'll be interesting to see. He wasn't too fond of the old Supercar a couple of weeks ago on the post-race show. But he hasn't broken clear here. A, Road America's a very hard track to do that, to break clear of the chasing pack. And B, the bloke that's chasing him is very well credentialed as well.
Yeah, Merritt's definitely, he definitely knows how to use his hands and feet, you know. He's just sitting in the mirror at the moment, applying that little bit of pressure, but obviously Dyson's a calm set of hands as well. Obviously can hop into anything, but at the moment just seems to be checking up now and side by side with Merritt and Dyson out the front.
2 DPR runners in the top 5 at the moment. The back of that 5-car pack is Andrew's teammate, of course, Ryan Jones. He's just sitting back there patiently at the moment. Have a look at the chopping and changing of lanes from Alex Barrelon and Luke King on the run down to turn 5. Dives into the inside and hangs Merritt out to dry. Merritt will come back across to cover on Barrelon quite nicely. Alex having a nice run at the moment. Jonesy finally makes his move on the inside and gets by Luke King for 4th.
A good move there by Jonesy to get the inside. A little cheeky headlight flash there to show he wants to potentially come up into the top 3 as well. So we'll see what Jones can do and see if he can get past Alex in a couple of laps as well and try and just latch onto the back of Merritt.
I was saying to the boys, it's weird on a Wednesday night, especially of late, to not have any real-world sport to kind of update everybody on as we go. We don't go around the grounds tonight. We might be able to wedge in a Tour de France update towards the back end of the program. Callum Heinrich in trouble and getting sent. So that's the second Northwind, that was a wild ride. There was a Northwind in trouble on turn 1 earlier. A wild ride in trouble there, coming up towards turn 7 and 8. So it's an interesting one, Road America. There's a 10-second penalty being handed out to Jordan Dakin for the late move. They cleaned up Battle Waivers among others on lap 2 at turn 1. That I can't say I'm terribly surprised by. A 10-second invoice for him, which will be applied after the fact. So at the moment, I'm just having a look on my score sheet here. Jordan showing 26th, and 10 seconds, if it was to finish now, will drop him down to 34th position. So it's going to be a fair, hefty invoice when he receives it.
Yep, it's an unfortunate one, but those things happen here, and especially when you're 3 wide at turn 1 on such a tight line into Road America, it's not going to help at all. But I did also want to say, Alex Barrelon, he was absolutely sending it through the kink on the last lap. He was full limits there on getting the left tyres on the grass, and he's just applying a little bit of pressure on the back of John. So maybe there's someone else in contention here.
It's brilliant to see Alex Barrelon actually keeping these guys honest. I mean, obviously the the two teams surrounding him we're not necessarily surprised by, but the presence of Northwind has only become more noticeable over the last season or so, and to see them knocking on the door of a strong podium result here. Merritt to the inside, pull it up, Johnny. There we go, to the inside, gets by Dyson. Dyson gets hung out to dry. Doors open for Barrelon. He's trying to push Merritt through and go with him. Let's have a look up to turn 6. Can do so. But Dyson on the inside running for 7. And then they'll make their way up to turn 8. The carousel, of course, being turn 9. I'm trying to remember my corner numbers around here. I didn't load the map tonight. I seem to know well enough to not have to do that. There's turn 8, turn 9, the carousel, and of course the kink to 10. The left-handed kink partway along the back straight is 11, Canada is 12, and then the uphill left-hand sweeper is 13. The right-hander that brings him back on the straight is 14. Been to Wildcat Lake, Wisconsin previously. It's one of our more popular circuits. Some criticism internally that we go here too often, but when you get a show like this, why wouldn't you? Now towards Canada we go once more. John Merritt's going to lead us back through. Lap time to around that 2:26 marker, so keep an eye on that, because we might just squeeze in a 7th lap here, and 7 right into overtime.
Yeah, that would be nice to get the extra lap out here, but again, I'm not sure if you noticed, but Barrelon again was full send through the kink, just trying to keep up. And he done the smart thing by tucking in behind Dyson as well before the carousel, because if you're going a bit side by side through there, you might let Merritt just shoot away into the distance. So Dyson's already just vacuumed him up and right in that slipstream.
Well, actually, I'm going to entertain Brad Wash's comment right now, only because I can. Merritt under pressure from Dyson. So have a look at this photo of that. Hold your breath as they get to turn 1. Have a look at this battle pack, ladies and gentlemen. Rowan Kabadi has got the invert pole at the moment. If things are to stay as they are, he's going on the outside. He's then going to get hung out to dry. They get through turn 1 cleanly. Now he's out of the invert altogether. 3 wide of the run down to 2 and 3. Let's have a look at this. Down squeezing on the inside. 3 wide to turn 3. Oh, somehow they get away with it. But Kabadia, like a sitting duck, it's just been hung out to dry. From 9th back to 13th. It's a 4th position invoice. It puts it right out of the invert with potentially 3 laps to go. As little as 2, as many as 3. Barrelon's off the road. He was leading at one point. He's gone back to 4th. Jonesy up into 3rd, further at the front. And there are battles everywhere you look at the moment. I'll come back to Brad Wash's comment about Northwind in just a moment when we've got a chance to come up for air, Jordan. This is awesome stuff.
Oh, this is spectacular. It's starting to get a little bit fired up in the BMWs, but they're still keeping it, relatively neat. They made it 3 wide through turn 3 there a moment ago, which was really good stuff compared to what we've seen on lap 2. But at the moment, it's neat stuff. Oscar tried to just jump away from the group, but they've seemed to have tucked back in immediately.
Let's have a look at a replay here. This was Russell Gander coming around on the main straight. A little bit too greedy on the exit with the curbs, caught the dirt. See you later. Bang. Into the wall. Crunch.
That one.
Unfortunately, no airbag on this as well.
Brooklyn Brennan picks up a 15-second invoice as well for re-contact with Callum Heinrich on lap 2. Whoa, hey! Dyson in the grass!
They are sending it. Absolutely. Absolutely sending it through there, Zach. That's what I mean by they're getting led by Alex through there from a couple of laps ago. It seems like everyone's starting to do that one now. It's starting to get a little bit full send in the car, and seems to be like that temperature's warming up.
I do apologise. They called that wrong. I would see we're picking up the leaders. No, we're picking up 5th, 8th, 9th, I should say. Oscar Haynes it was that was 4 wheels through the grass. Doing some lawn trimming at Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin. We're going to get 2 laps here, boys. We're going to get 2. They weren't flying the white flag that time through, and nor should they. They're going to get back to the line with about 10 seconds on the clock. 2 to go at Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin, and this is only race 1. Mark Heppel picks up no further action. So that's actually good news for him. The contact with Brooklyn Brennan on lap 3. Heppel, of course, well down the order after an opening lap incident. He's picked up some ground. And unfortunately, as part of that, there's been a couple of moments, but thankfully he gets away with that one. They came to a racing incident. Sim is a little, Brad Washer reckons that the Sim's a little too loud. I was going to say, I'm picking up some sound effects from Jordan Bianazola's end when he opens his microphone that make it sound like he's down in pit road doing the commentary from there for us, which is great. I'm rivaling that, but if it's too loud for the audience at home, then I might just have to speak a little bit louder. Would that work?
Oh, you're sounding absolutely fine for me here, Zach. So I'm not sure what Brad's hearing here, but obviously he's hearing something we're not hearing. So
Andrew Neal
just
will be
lowered the sim a
sorting that
little
out
bit.
at the moment.
And Jordan, if you want to pump your mic up just a little bit in Discord, that might. I tried doing it from my end, but
I don't know how to do that one.
that's all right. I'll turn the sim down.
We'll sort that out as we go. We'll sort that out as we go. John Merritt leads. Andrew Dyson is second. Ryan Jones is third. Alex Barrelon is fourth. Luke King hasn't let them get away. This has been a beautifully clean race so far. And John Merritt finds his way to the front with 11 1/4 to go as they hit the kink. You mentioned Alex Barrelon. He's going to have to go full set from fourth if he's to stay in touch with these boys. Oh, look at that. Straight through the weeds again. I'm amazed he's not triggering an off-track alert around there. But then again, it is the United States. They're a little bit loose with their off-tracks. Just look at Watkins Glen as a classic example of that. We're there tomorrow night with the Porsches, of course. Merritt out of Canada leads us on the penultimate lap. White flag flies this time by the line. Hold your breath, Australia. 1 to go, and it's only race 1. Exactly. I appreciate that. The worst thing anyone can say to me at a racetrack is, what's going on, Zach? You're a bit quiet. We can't hear you. Well, challenge accepted. Let's go. 6.5 kilometres to determine the winner of race 1 of round 3 of the merch.tgsrc.com BMW M Sport Cup, live exclusive and free on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. And now Andrew Dyson makes his move. Ryan Jones punches out the fast lap of the race, 2:26.041. We hit overtime right about now. Let's go. A good 2 1/4 minutes of overtime to determine the winner of race 1. Oscar Haynes is holding on to ninth at the moment. Here comes Richard Brookfield down on the inside of David Baz. That is for the invert pole. But he's still got to hold on for another 13 corners.
Yeah, it's a long lap here at Road America, so to hold on for the back end of the top 10 as well is going to be a bit of a battle, but the top 5, we return to it. Merritt, is he going to try and look for a move here down at the bottom of the hill? Not going to. Just sit in the mirror behind Dyson, leave the door open on the outside for Jones, who's going to get hung out to dry. He bounces through the gravel, cuts across the nose of Barrelon. Oh, King's getting a front row view of that one as that battle goes on for third. They're nearly 3 wide in the background there. King's trying to pick a lane, and Jones is going to hold on for P3 now.
Kingy had no help there, no way through. The road was blocked ahead of him. Barrelon was trying to get through on Jones. They avoided contact. And now Dyson and Merritt have skipped clear, so it's a battle in 2 at the front. The other 3 will squabble over the minor placings. The last spot on the podium, it's a DPR 1-3 at the moment as they stretch through Canada for the final time. Dyson will be on the defence as they hit Canada corner, you can imagine. But Merritt will be trying to muscle it out here and get the run. As Barrelon again.
Both wide there. King's going to give himself a run here, but he's going to be stuck on the outside heading into Canada. Merritt doesn't look like he's got a chance at this, but it's only for 4th now with King and Barrelon. King around the outside. Can he do it? No. Oh, unfortunate there for King.
Dyson leads, but Merritt will be hoping for a dream run out of the final corner and some sort of slipstream benefit up the hill, but they're not the easiest thing to get a toe in. The BMW M2, Andrew Dyson, what can't he win a race in, ladies and gentlemen? He's cleaning up everywhere he turns up at the moment. The BMW M Sport Cup, no exception. Dyson over Merritt in race 1 at Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin. Beautifully done. 0.23 the margin. Ryan Jones in for 3rd. Barrelon, King, Hen, King, Adams, Richard in 7th, Jeff Adams 8th, Oscar Haynes 9th, and Richard Brookfield does hold on for the invert pole. Further back to David Baz, Guy Leach, Adam Proctor, then Rowan Cabardia, Eduardo Zamora, John Baldwin, James Katsi in 8th, and Michael. There comes Adam Lavis through in 20th spot. This is all provisional, of course, because of penalties like that one being mentioned down the bottom of your screen, Nate, that Michael gets a 15-second invoice for his escorting of Philip Hambly on lap 6. Wow, wow, wow. No, I know you're not throwing shade, Brad. I appreciate that, mate. We always appreciate a little bit of a leg up because if we, you guys are getting a different feed to us, so you're hearing different things that we're not. So, as I say, it might sound all right at our end, but if it's not sounding right at your end, we appreciate the heads up. Anything to make it a more pleasurable listening experience to you blokes and girls that tune in from near and far on a Wednesday night, as well as a Monday, Thursday and Friday as well. Dyson 0.3, the winning margin in the end over Johnny Merritt, then Luke King, Adam Funslow, Alex Barrelon and Ryan Jones. I mentioned down to, now Adam's come up to 18th. Oh, no, that's the quali results. That's the quali results, Andrew Neil. Sorry, I've been stitched up there. I've done the anchorman thing. I've just read what was on the screen. I missed the qualifying results header on that stat sheet. So we'll go and have a look at it. I was like, hang on, Adam didn't come home in 18th. He's come home in 20th. Who's picked up a penalty? No one. It was qualifying.
We're just waiting for some of those to come up. A
couple of stragglers coming through there. Good point, mate. There's a couple that are finishing well down. In fact, Russell Gander, Callum Heinrich yet to come across the line. Adam Funslow recovered to finish a lap down. A couple of moments in the final few stages here. And another slip and slide out of the final corner and meets concrete. Bang. That was not surprising. We've seen that old trick a few times already tonight. Russell Gander, Callum Heinrich, the last two across the line. And we had 36 finishes in the end. Still no idea why Adam Funslow had that moment. There's another penalty ensuing, no doubt. Tarek Alani gets 10 seconds for contact on Jordan Dakin on the final lap. And now we lose our ability to go any further with that because the iRacing server has ticked over into the warm-up session. So there you have it. 27 seconds, covered the top 20 in the end. Greg Heaney's come home in 20th, so someone has definitely picked up a penalty in all of that on the final lap because Lavis was showing 20th on our timing sheet. We'll pick up who that is in just a moment. Proctor, Kabardia, Zamora, Baldwin, Katia, Michael, Lavis and Heaney, the top 20. Can we go over the page, please, Mr. Neil? Dale Sharp, 21st. Brett Bradbury, Tarek Alani, Joel and Hanson, Mark Heppel, Brooklyn Bredden, Adam Raff, Aaron Bryan and Jordan Dakin. Then Mike Fisher, Kevin Wakefield, Philip Hambley, Hilton Booth, then Russell Gander, Callum Heinrich, Adam Funslow, Thorn Weggett and Mitch Wood. Now, I'm not sure who's picked up the penalty there, but I'm sure I called Adam Lavis across the line in 20th. So someone has come out for Heaney to go in. And I'm just trying to work out who, based on any penalties that might have been applied from the iRacing end. I'm thinking of 35 seconds or something like that. Someone's maybe tripped up the incident point limit on the final lap there. I'm not sure. But commitment plus from all concerned there, Jordan. And we haven't had a bad race in this series so far.
No, that was another good showing, especially the last lap action there. They know how to fire it up at the front, don't they, Zach? It's they can definitely put a show on for us and make our vocal cords nearly jump out of our throats. But yeah, they know what to do out there.
I've got to be very careful. I've got to look after it this week, the old voice box, because I'm off to the Sydney Illawarra Kart Club on Sunday for the Dunlop Kart Stars Series. In fact, qualifying is Saturday afternoon. And the last time I went and commentated there was the State Championships of Karting New South Wales last October. And I had a job to talk for 3 days after that. So, yes, that's the type of racing we can look forward to. But I've still got to get through Formula V yet tomorrow night and IndyCar on Friday night. And we know what sort of damage that can do to the old vocal cords. We're here with thanks to Disruptive Labs, merch.tgsrci.com, waste options, /graphics, and, of course, Trophi.AI, who are, of course, the naming rights sponsor of our Supercar series, which follows the second of the races from the BMWs from Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin. We go to Chicago for that, and we're looking forward to it immensely. Richard Brookfield and Oscar Haynes, meanwhile, share the front row here for the feature race of round 3 of the series from not the Okayama International Circuit, instead Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, Road America. I'm just noticing a couple of little things there. I think... I'm not sure what's going on, but there's obviously just been some software malfunctions in the updates week in, week out, but that's okay. At least all the track and weather service settings are right. 1700, so that's 5 o'clock local server time. 15 km/h winds now tending south to southwesterly, and they are 26 degrees the ambient, 33 on track, partly cloudy conditions, dry and 62% humidity. Brookfield, Haynes, Adams, King, Hen, King, Barrelon, Jones, Merritt, Dyson, the first 5 rows on this grid. David Basguy, Leach, Adam Proctor, Rowan Kabardia, Eduardo Zamora, John Baldwin, James Katia, Nathan Michael, Adam Lavis, Greg Heaney take us back to 20th, and lights out away we go. We'll get to the other 15 as we rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. We should go 10 laps here with that pit lane transit as well. Look at John
Merritt, no!
Barrelon's gone with him! Oh my goodness, that had no potential to be an enormous shot, and somehow they've got away with it. Are you
cutting
kidding
at turn
me?
1. Cut at turn 1 as well through the inside to avoid something as well. I didn't miss that. I was trying to watch Barrelon in the background as he was stuck in the middle of the track near enough and bogged down trying to get some power.
I'll be interested to see the replay of that when we go on board with Alex Barrelon. Was he far enough up on the inside, or did John Merritt shut the door? Sorry, the other way around. Was John Merritt far enough up on the inside to get through, or has Alex Barrelon slammed the door shut and paid the price accordingly? Oh,
well, the squeeze was slow from the start. I noticed it from immediately. My eyes were locked directly on Merrick from the get-go, so it'll be quite tight to see what Thorne decides in race control, but that'll be his decision alone, so we'll see what the pop-up says.
Barrelon and Dakin, Jordan Dakin also, Barrelon, both the Northwind boys on the tow rope. They weren't able to get back to pit lane. The damage sustained too much. So yes, trouble on the opening lap. And this field very, very spread out early in the piece. Hilton Booth back to Adam Funslow. Adam Funslow's up 6 spots already. That's important to note. Callum Heinrich, Mike Fisher, Russell Gander and Adam Raff in behind them. 34 cars still on track, 2 on the tow rope. And we're looking good for 10 laps here at Road America in the BMW M2s. That are delivering the goods so far. Whoa, look at that. Oscar Haynes now doing the rallycross work as he was earlier through turn number 11. Down towards Canada Corner we go. Brookfield, Adams, Haynes, Jones. So Jonesy the best off the jump. Top 3 remain where they started. Off on the outside, that was Richard King putting 2 wheels in the gravel. He's had a wild ride on the opening lap, has Richard King. Cutting the corner at turn 1, then going too wide down there at Canada. As they make it back to the end of the opening lap. John Merritt, as a result of that incident, that run-in with Alex Barrelon. He's dropped down to 11th spot. David Baz to pit lane. He's not the only one. A few of them peeling off stage right. Adam Lavis, Dale Sharp, Mark Heppel, all in at the end of the opening lap. So they've either sustained damage as a result of that incident, Merritt and Barrelon, or they reckon they can get home on fuel from here for the remaining 9 laps.
Yeah, Funslow's also dived into the pits. We'll see here what's happened on the start. So Merrick comes across. Is this...
No, I think that was the race 1 start, actually.
Yep, I think that's the wrong race 1 start there.
I didn't know that was possible.
Neither.
So, meanwhile, whilst we've been away looking at that, Ryan Jones has gone up to 2nd because Chris Henn and Jeff Adams and Oscar Haynes were all in the weeds at turn 1. Now look at this, checked up, down on the inside. Jonesy defending from Adams and Henn, and then Luke King, Oscar Haynes, Andrew Dyson trying to weave his way back through the field. Absolute carnage early on, much to the delight of Richard Brookfield, who's now 2 seconds to the good. Here's the replay of race 2. And the start thereof. Watch for Johnny Merritt. We're riding with him. Great
launch.
That was an awesome launch. And it all just went belly up. Let's have a look at this. Went to the inside. Was he further across? Oh, you can see, yeah. I don't think Barrelon knew that Merritt was there. He was looking for the gap himself with the car in front. He was looking to slide into that himself, unaware that Merritt was already on his inside.
I mean, I think Merritt has a bit of a leg to stand on there from what I've seen. But I mean, I know it's a bit axle to axle here, but it was a little bit tight there, and especially in a straight line. I'm not sure how that's seen, but obviously people extending limits at the kink again. I know how to send it out there.
Thorne Leggett has ruled in favour of Alex Barrelon. He reckons John Merritt was at fault. Avoidable contact. 10 seconds, John Merritt. Wowee. Hello to former El Presidente, Josh Zuno, who's wedged his way into the comment section on YouTube. Welcome to you, mate. Good to have you on board. And Cameron Dakin reckons that was a bit of a crazy gap to go for. I mean, we saw it earlier that, I mean, I get it, lap 1, lick the stamp, send it. You've got more hope when everyone's at low speed. If you've got the good launch and there's a gap, go for it. But at the same time, we saw earlier that you had enough trouble trying to go 2 by 2 in these cars around here, rather than trying to make it any more exorbitant than that. So 3 or 4 just not on. As you can see, pretty much single file formation with the exception of 1 or 2 going too wide on the run to turn 1 on this 3rd lap. So yeah, bad luck John Merritt, bad luck Alex Barrelon Dakin still on pit road after 4 3/4 minutes. It's a long tow, there's no doubt about that. In comes Hambly, Heinrich, Brian, Michael and Leach all at the end of the 2nd lap. And we're not getting a fair relative, I don't think, with regards to who's stopped and who hasn't, because some of the guys that came in at the end of lap 1 aren't registering on our screen at the moment in the pit lane stop column. So that might just be an unfortunate consequence of us finding a race 1 replay of the start rather than race 2. I'm not sure. SDK and iRacing just not computing together this week. Keeping everybody on their toes. You'll be delighted to know, ladies and gentlemen, that the work has been done. The announcements have been made too with regards to the changes that are being introduced into our GT3 series from next Monday night. You'll see them starting to roll out across social media platforms next Monday, just to tidy up a bit of housekeeping from the other night as well. Big dive under the brakes for Brett Bradbury. Good to see him back out on the circuit. I mean, he couldn't take a trick 2 weeks ago. He gave himself a week off. It wasn't given to him by the club. He gave himself a week off just to recover from the battering and the bruising and the dead set pummeling that he copped out there on the racetrack. He had absolutely no luck at all in week 2, but he's looking better in week 4.
Yep, that is a much better for him. Sorry, I'm just looking at the gap with Brookfield out the front because...
yeah, 2 seconds.
Yes, but as you just brought my attention away for a second, and Jeff Adams, I think, had actually just made a bit of a mistake, or was he just passed maybe by Chris Henn, because Adams was up in 2nd place, and it was about 1.5 seconds, and the gap was closing down to Brookfield, but now he's down to 3rd, and Henn's promoted up to 2nd. Yeah. So I wonder if Jeff made a mistake or if Chris just got the move done.
6 and 1/2 up on the other. There, so. Richard King, Eduardo Zamora, Greg Heaney all to pit lane this time through. You're right, Chris Henn fastest lap of the race, so that leads me to think that it was a pass for position. We're going to see that on the Disruptive Labs replay right here and now. Trusty old Canada corner, and Jeff Adams leaving it all open. Slightly ajar for Chris Henn to work his way through, and he does so without incident, so nicely done there. Richard King, Eduardo Zamora, Greg Heaney, Mike Fisher and Russell Gender all to pit lane that time through as we make our way around on lap number 4. So everyone down to Adam Lavis, I think, is yet to stop. I think that's where we're at. Again, some of that data just not coming through at the moment, but I did see Adam go in at the end of the opening lap. So let's have a look at this. Out of turn number 5 up to 6, they're trying to reel in Richard Brookfield, but we're seeing here, aren't we? I mean, even though they're going to potentially hold each other up here, the more they squabble, and not just them, but also there are 3 cars that are on their bumper bar nipping at the heels at the moment. Jeff Adams is being hounded by Ryan Jones, Andrew Dyson and Luke King. But we're also seeing that it can be more beneficial around this racetrack to work as a team, Jordan, as opposed to Richard out in front doing it on his own. The more they squabble, the more leverage he'll get. And if they work together and just push each other along, they'll reel him in no time.
Oh, they'll catch up. Yeah, like you said, in no time. Probably give them about 2 laps, and they'll be on him very quickly. But also, Merritt will be wanting them to battle. It's a bit of a catch-22 for that group. Do they go forward and go get Brookfield and help Dyson, or do they scrap and help Merritt catch back up to that group?
And remembering that Merritt's got that 10 seconds at the end of the race as well. So he needs to make hay while the sun shines, and at the moment he's being hounded by Adam Proctor. Field far more spaced out second time through than what they were first time through, partly because we've got the pit lane sequence underway, partly because of the incidents that divided the field on the opening lap. That's John Baldwin making his way on the top 10. In comes Merritt, in comes King, in comes Adams. That time through the end of lap number 4. So, yeah, varying strategies in play here as well. Had we got a safety car, everyone stops at the same time, right? Very similar to IndyCar. Everyone would have just checked up, gone in at the same time. There's a 15-second penalty now for Adam Raff for contact on Jordan Dakin. Dakin's taken more hits than Elvis tonight, or been involved in more hits than Elvis. And Rowan Capardi are also on pit lane this time through. Barrelon and Dakin taking no further part, it would seem. They are parked up for the night. They've been on pit lane now for nearly 10 minutes apiece. And once you get to that point, boys, we start having the discussion about 75% race distance, and they're not a hope of registering with the scorers in that regard. So they may as well just park it up for the night.
Just looking at the pit stops here, Luke King, he's absolutely, Jonesy, wow, giving a bit of a push over at, what's that, turn 4, I think it is. I get confused around here.
And Dyson on his on the back of that move from Jonesy has taken full advantage of that as well, Jordan, and he's gone through on Chris Head. That was 5, 6 and 7. They're on their way down to 8, and Jonesy, doesn't mind getting the elbows out, young Ryan. They're not the biggest elbows in the world. He's a very small bloke. But on this occasion, using the door of the BMW to his advantage, he hangs Chris Hen out to dry. He paves the way for his teammate Andrew Dyson to work his way back to 3rd in the motor race. On track for the round honours, of course, is Andrew Dyson. Jonesy now finds his way up into clear air in 2nd.
I just want to go back to what I was saying with King, Luke, that was. The pit stop, 6.7 for him. Some of the others around him, so Merritt was 7.8. Richard King was 8.9. Nathan Michael was at 8. And then Guy Leach, 11.5. So a little bit of a difference. So Luke King, clearly the quickest at the moment. Most of them in the 8s or 9s for their pit stops.
Indeed.
King's found something there to gain on in the pit stops over the first couple of rounds, and we'll see where that brings him in that battle compared to Dyson and that group that he was sort of in, and as well Brookfield, who was out front, wide out again in the background. And go to another replay.
So
Adams getting squirmy.
Too deep.
Yeah, he was squirming as soon as we come onto the downhill there, and unfortunately just presses the escape button.
I feel he's had enough.
Yep, had a gutful. Jeff Adams, Adam Proctor, Alex Barrelon, Jordan Dakin, now the 4 retirements in this 2nd race. Oscar Haynes, Brooklyn Breton to pit lane, and this was Adam Proctor's demise. His exit at Canada. Just the slightest bit of kitty litter and smash into the tyre wall, and a fair bit of damage sustained from all of that. Brooklyn Breton, Oscar Haynes to pit lane. The rest of the field continues on. John Merritt's got a 10-second invoice hovering over his head at the moment, but there are a few invoices being handed out tonight. So, Thorne's had his work cut out for him. I'll be interested to get his thoughts, actually. He might slide into race control or into the commentary box, actually, after he's left race control and have a chat with us. I'll be interested to find out what what the reasoning was for the penalty with Merritt, as opposed to, because I look at that and think, okay, racing incident, that probably could have been, you could have adjudicated either way and all of that. But there's an old rule up here in races sanctioned events at Lakeside Park where the overtaking car is always deemed to be in the wrong. Good luck pleading your case. The overtaken car is always in the wrong.
Merritt.
Fair or not, I'm not sure. Big send from John Merritt, but then he's been hung out to dry on the exit of 5. And, a little bit of a speed hump bobble there on the exit of 5. Slots back into line, but he's sitting in 14th behind David Baz at the moment, who was also hanging out sideways at this point, and we are at the 14-minute mark. Fascinating racing so far, and by the looks of it, we've still got another at least 4 laps to come after the one we're on, pending pit lane transit time and what that does to the clock.
Yep, still obviously a lot of time. Yeah, I'm obviously I can't pick the numbers out like you and how you do it, but you and your Zach GPT, you know how to do it, don't you?
Zach GPT, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one before. Very well.
I said someone commented that the other day. I don't take glory for it. Someone commented that the other day. I think it was Josh Zvino. I'm not sure. Yeah, Zeno.
Sorry. Yeah, it was. You're right. I remember him saying that. And I don't know if that was on broadcast or in our commentators chat thread. It was one or the other. Down we go onto the main straight. Ryan Jones has been passed by his teammate Andrew Dyson, but look at the distance that Richard Brookfield's managed to put between himself and these three cars. Dyso the only chance really of reeling that in, but even he might struggle with, what have we got? I reckon 4 laps to go at the bare minimum. 5 at the maximum, depends on the pit lane transit. Katia, Bradbury, Alani and Wakefield pit lane that time through. John Baldwin had 2 wheels in the dirt at 1. He gathered it up, where he picked up John Merritt in 12th. Ruining what might have been. Brookfield Dyson, the margin 3.1, and a lot hinges on the pit lane transit, and you want to hit your markers there and get it right. If Richard Brookfield can do that, Dyso's got his work cut out for him in pursuit of the nightly double. And whether he's going to go and hop behind the wheel of a supercar on the streets of Chicago or not remains to be seen too. Let's keep our eyes peeled on that. Whoa, David Baz, how do you do? SMSing the rear bar of John Merritt's pulse tuning BMW. Give it an inch, they'll take a mile. Have a look at this. Bump drafting, BMW style, down the back straight at Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin.
To the left at the moment, Merritt will hold on from Baz, and no one's hitting that speed hump on the exit, which we've seen a couple of people run out wide. They hit that in through turn in races 1 and a lot now in race 2, but this pack in 8. Merritt's obviously just got to keep in mind that he's got the penalty looming over him. But yeah, Brookfield, you're mentioning the gap out front was 3.1. It's now 3.3 to Dyson, so Dyson's not able to catch up at the moment. So whatever Brookfield's done, he's clearly in the groove at the moment, and trying to find out something. Is actually, it's a no further action here with John Merritt for another incident that was with Oscar on lap 4 here. I didn't actually catch that one from memory.
Nor did I. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that if Andrew Neal can find anything in the replay file there. I'm not sure. In comes Brookfield. Jones in hand. Dyson goes on for another lap. It would seem as though he's content with going on to do the overcut on everybody, whereas Brookfield will try and do the undercut. Baldwin also in. Booth and Hanson, we keep an eye on them. That's Jolin. Yep, Hilton and Jolin are both in. Merritt will be the best placed of anyone to have stopped already. He's going to bring it back to the line at the end of lap 8. So just repeating, we saw Baz, Heppel and Funzel all go in at the end of the opening lap, and I think Dale Sharp as well. It just didn't register on our SDK time screen. Cars, oh, okay, Oscar Haynes, John Merritt, that was up at turn number 6. Interesting. Brookfield, Jones, Hen have all come back out onto the circuit. Hen's at the risk of being gobbled up here, will be so.
Right
Merritt around the outside, nicely done. Now Hen's got his work cut out for him because King and Baz are giving him the hurry up, and he's got to get back up to speed in a real quick hurry.
Yeah, Brookfield's only just ahead as well by a second ahead of Jones, and Merritt's only a second off of there. So Brookfield's only 2 seconds up the road from what we can see. So he'll just come into camera, and now we can see him. So that gap has reduced. So Merritt's clearly tried to put the hammer down, but where will Dyson pop out as well once he does his stop?
That's telling, actually. Good pick up from you. Richard Brookfield, only a second, now actually less than a second clear of Ryan Jones. That was 3 seconds, pushing 4 seconds going into the pit lane. So they've absolutely...
That was over Dyson though, Zach. Earlier on, when it was just Brookfield over the rest of the field, it was closer to that 2 second, 1.5. So he has honestly kept around that similar gap, but Jones has been the one that has been able to find something. Obviously, he was a second quicker in the pit stop, 6.9 versus Brookfield 7.9 as well. So that's where that second came from.
I get a real feeling Andrew Dyson is about to towel the pack up. I reckon he's a real chance here of coming out in front of, or bang on the bumper bar of, Richard Brookfield. Because remember, he got by Jonesy before that pit stop. Jonesy had that little skirmish, 3 elbows out, and I've got a feeling as Dyson enters pit lane now that he's about to trump the pack. So let's have a look.
Steve, you're right. He's got 30 seconds of a gap, so half a minute till they get here. A couple of corners.
2 laps to go at the line. They won't get 3. That we can confirm as well. So it will be 10. 7 and 10, the lap race distances tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Dyson hasn't yet hit his box. Brookfield's on the main straight. Dyson's now on the jacks. 2 seconds, 3, 4, 5, 6. He'll be gone any tick of the clock. 7.55. So it wasn't as quick as Jones, but it was quicker than Brookfield. And out
Here they come.
Here he comes.
Here they come.
To the inside. Can he get back up to speed in a hurry to clear the field?
Oh, no.
He can, but look at Jonesy on the outside. He got checked up by his teammate. Brookfield trying to hack it around the outside. He's going to get hung out to dry. It's going to be a DPR 1-2. And Dyson opens the door for Jones to go from the inside at 3. The 2 teammates are going to lead them down the back straight. We're going to real dogfight on our hands here with 2 laps to go. Remembering that Merritt's not in the fight, he's got a 10-second invoice as it stands.
Yeah, correct. He'll be dropping to the back of the pack at the moment, but the top 2, the teammates, hopefully they don't get into each other like we've seen some of these V8 Supercar guys do from time to time, but these guys seeming a bit neater. The V8 guys I'm only referencing because we'll see them in a couple of moments later on the stream. But there's 2 by 2 through these corners now under the bridge, Corvette Bridge that is. And they make it through safely, but Merritt's just trying to annoy anyone he can.
Yep.
And just make them have a mistake, because if anyone makes a mistake, he'll more or less beat them, because if they make a mistake, they'll be off by more than 10 seconds once they rejoin. But Jones now just needs to be patient behind Dyson as they're nearly looking into the carousel there. Merritt's on the bumper of Brookfield here.
And Brookfield, by the way, right, the longer Merritt stays there and holds station behind him, the better it is for him. The better it is for Brookfield in terms of trying to consolidate and snare a podium here. Back of the pack with points, and Merritt has a championship lead. That's a good point, Josh. He won't be happy with the 10-second invoice, though, because at the moment that would put him down. Where is he at the moment? He's only 0.5 off the leader, so 10...
Oh, no! No! Merritt's gone!
Can you believe that? It's going to be a lot bigger invoice now than what it was looking like it would be, which was looking like about 12th position in behind Mark Heppel, and now they're plummeting down the order at a rapid rate of knots, and you feel for Richard Brookfield because he was on for a podium, and his misfortune is Luke King's gain because he jumped up into 3rd, and he's got breathing space over David Bass, Chris Hand and Richard King, but it's a DPR 1-2 as the white flag flies at Road America. What drama!
Both of them meatballed out of that one. Merritt just missed his marks completely and just nosedived into the back. We're going to see a dive here as I say that word. No, Jones will keep it patient behind Dyson, but Merritt, oh, that's going to be a penalty and a half looking his way, unfortunately for John.
And they were both wide going through the final corner. Richards had to come to pit lane. Merritt will have to do the same. What a moment. Let's have a look at this. Oh.
Absolutely missiled him off the track. That's a Shadow Realm if I've ever seen one.
Can we ride on board with John Merritt for that, please, Andrew? Can we go on board with John? But we might actually hang on. Let's go. No, actually, no.
Okay.
On board with John.
I have a light struggle moment from Monaco.
We will have a look at that on board with John Merritt as soon as we get clear. Andrew, if you're Jonesy, right, you lick the stamp and send this. You want to get one up on the teammate. If you're Dyso, you want to get 2 up on your teammate and get 2 up on everybody and sweep the night. So a lot at stake here. Inner team bragging rights and battles, but also championship points on the line. So what can Dyson do here? Not even in championship contention at the moment. Was a late arrival of the series, a 1st and a 4th last week, and now looking good for the double tonight, and even better with the drop round of 0 coming his way when week 7 has come and gone. So he is actually technically in the mix, but it won't be reflected on the points table until we get to the end of week 7. Through to Canada for the final time. Jonesy's too far back. There won't be any missiles being launched here, I wouldn't imagine. No, he's holding station. It'll be a DPR 1-2 And Luke King from nowhere is going to snag a podium. He was 3 positions back at the start of the final lap. Then all hell broke loose. Tyson to turn 13, to turn 14. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. DPR Racing dominant at Road America. Round 3 of the championship. And Daiso's going to pick up not just the round win, but his 3rd race win of the season as well. He sweeps the night in Wisconsin.
Hold on to Dyson there.
Fast got the race in the final lap as well. That's a statement and a half, isn't it? 2:26. Oh, he got pipped. He got pipped for the fastest lap. Luke King with 2:26.1 on the final lap. Oh, what a charge from Luke King. Didn't see that one coming. 3 cars within a second of one another. David Baz held off Richard King, Chris Henn, Guy Leach, James Katia, Mark Ebel, Nathan Michael. Let's just say it's all provisional, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Fungslow from the rear to 11th is not a bad performance, and once the penalties are applied here, he may find himself in the top 10. Rowan Cabardia, Greg Heaney, Brett Bradbury, John Baldwin made up the top 15. Dale Sharp, Eduardo Zamora, Hilton Booth, Brooklyn Breton, and Tarek Alani. Now, was Merritt trying to go the inside and got checked up by Brookfield on the brakes? I don't know. It's a strange one. From your standpoint, Jordan, you can understand why incidents like that happen, but it's not ideal when you're, not in the fight, as Merritt was at that point in time. And there was a bit of movement from Brookfield there as well. Let's be perfectly honest. There was a little bit of movement there. So he's obviously been having a look at Jones. He maybe thought against it. He's gone back in. And then there's a bit of a speed wash off, and I think Merritt's just been caught out by all of that.
Yep, same here. I think he's just completely, just mentally clocked out for half a second there, and it just bit him wrong because when you look at that replay, all 3 of them are on the brakes, well with time before him, and he's just continuing on going into the corner, and then you notice at that last moment he tries to dip right. I think he just complete lapse of concentration in that moment, which is unfortunate and very rare for Merritt. Obviously, experienced set of hands with him, so for a lapse of concentration, that's a bit of a moment.
Oh. We've already got a couple of people in here that have the gift of the gab behind the microphone tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and we're about to be joined by another and his teammate who's also making a late launch into the career of comedy and making an audition tape within our platforms to get a gig at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival next year. I'll get to the DPR boys in just a moment. Luke King in for 3rd, David Baz, Richard King, Chris Henn, Guy Leach, James Katia, Mark Heppel, and Nathan Michael, the top 10. Good recovery from Heppel as well, it's important to note. Funslow from the rear to 11th is also very, very worthy of a mention in terms of player of the match performances. Rowan Cabardia, Greg Heaney, Brett Bradbury, John Baldwin, and then Dale Sharp, Eduardo Zamora, Hilton Booth, Brooklyn Breton, and Tarek Alani. If we go over the page, thank you, Mr. Neil, we will have a look and tell you that Mitch Wood didn't start. Thornwiggett was in race control. Barrelon and Dakin didn't make it past the opening lap. Jeff Adams and Adam Proctor also retirement. So too Oscar Haynes, and John Merritt is going to show there as a letdown, having not been able to get back out on the racetrack after that second incident. So there's a lot to pick apart in all of that. That 10-second invoice that Merritt was copping is somewhat superfluous now because he's already the last of the finishers, but they'll apply it anyway. And I dare say they'll be having a look at that second incident there with Richard Brookfield as well. And what about you two blokes? Andrew Dyson and Ryan Jones. Jonesy, I'm going to start with you. At what point were you thinking there on the final lap, geez, I'd love to get one up on the team, mate?
From about the first corner in practice, I was thinking it. I bloody hate that bloke. He always beats me whenever I'm P2. It's always Dyson P1. He's bloody done it again. Sick of it.
He has. Yes. What are your impressions of the BMW M2 in the time that you've had a chance to have a steer of it, please?
Yeah, I mean, it obviously produces good racing and a bit of draft action, and you know as well as I do, Zach, that low horsepower, high draft cars often provide the best racing you can buy. And
exactly.
I think this was pretty similar. I think the setup wasn't amazing. I think it was a bit probably pointier than it should have been with the front. It was a bit weird to drive at times, but I think overall it's a reasonable car. I think I've driven it once before tonight, and It's just a faster 86, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Faster XL. I was going to say, Adam Funk's with some explanation there. iRacing just decided to crash and burn on him 5 seconds after the start of race 1. That explains why he just dropped off the face of the earth from the very pointy end of the field. I'll get to Bates by the boys in just a moment. When Supercars, that's 21 minutes from now. 8:45 cars on the grid there from the Chicago Street Circuit. Stick around for that. Quickly, are you two blokes having a run there or not?
Don't know. Don't think so. Maybe. I guess you'll find out.
Well, yeah, we will. Daiso, after your strong criticism of the car a couple of weeks back, I'm not sure.
No, you know exactly what the answer is, but I'm trying to talk Ryan into doing it because it'd be good to give us something to watch.
Well, that's true too, and of course we know that any mileage is good mileage at this time of the year as he waits for the Enduros to wrap up in the Logitech series. But we'll get back to the BMWs in just a moment. Just wanted to cover off the other comment there from the Pride of South Australia, Jordan Pianazola. You are always welcome in here, mate. Great to have you in the booth. Thanks for being available to jump in if I wasn't available tonight. And I appreciate your efforts as always. But do come back and give us some feedback after the Supercars from Chicago, please, and thank you. We'll let him go and get ready to suit up there. Dale Sharp jumping into his seat in the commentary box very shortly on the back of finishing in the top 20 there in the BMWs. It's interesting, isn't it, Jonesy, when we talk about the racing here? Christ, you two were lucky in the sense that you're able to work your way through the field far enough to be ahead of all that garbage that happened on the second to the last lap. Did you get a view of it in the rear view at any chance?
I almost wore it in the rear boot. What do you mean? I thought I was getting annihilated into Canada corner. Yeah, a bit messy. We did our best actually to give Brookfield the biggest lead possible before the pit stop. We both could get in a second and we fired off the road and trip over ourselves, and it was pretty messy, but yeah, it was a good race.
It was indeed, but again, you two, we couldn't help but notice, like Brookfield had a great lead at his disposal. He had 2 or 3 seconds on the pack, but we were commenting, right, that it's easier to work as a pack around here than it is to lead from the front. Doesn't matter what car you're in, if you can work together as a pack. Again, it helps if you stay in single line formation, but again, you guys also, to help your own cause, nailed your respective pit stops. And I actually called it, Daiso, before you came out ahead of the pack. I said, you watch him just jump the entire pack here. The overcut worked beautifully for you.
It did, man. And I think the in-lap was pretty good too. I don't think my pit stop was actually any faster than anybody else's. But
No, Jonesy had you by about 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, smashed me. But need his pit crew for next race, so we'll pull rank on that one.
I need your fuel tank then, if you'll get my pit crew.
Hey, Daiso, 3 wins out of the last 4 races for you. And when we get to round 7, when the drop rounds come into the equation and it updates all the point standings, you're going to be right in the mix here, mate. You couldn't ask for more than what you achieved tonight. I mean, except for the fact that you got pipped for the fastest lap of the race on the final lap.
Yeah, I think Luke was sitting in the best spot for that, wasn't he? He had a nice big hole in the air by a couple of cars, and you use that to his advantage. But yeah, I don't really think about the championship stuff, man. I just roll up. I was trying to do the no X thing tonight, and ended up dropping the tyres off a couple of times. It was really weird. I think when you have a car right behind you in this thing, it almost feels like there's a bubble between you and the car behind you, and it's pushing you off the road. And so it's caught me out a couple of times. Got some 1Xs, so that wasn't great. So I didn't get any bonus points, I don't think. But yeah, it's interesting when you're the lead car, that's for sure.
And Jonesy, not to put too fine a line on it, but it's been a while since we've had you in the booth for a post-race chat. There was a string of nights there where you were turning up and not being able to buy any luck to save yourself in sprint format. You can't ask for more than a third and a second, though. That's a very clean night out when you've been in the thick of it, battle-wise, from the outset in both races tonight.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could ask for 2 first-place finishes instead, but I guess...
Yeah, you'd need your teammate not to turn up, I think.
I guess I'll... No, I reckon I'm better than him. I guess I'll settle. I did it off the 3-lap practice warm-up, so, you know, I'll use that as my excuse. No, I haven't done a GSRC race in a while, and then this week I've jumped back in and, yeah, had a bit of fun, and I'm loading into the Chicago race now, so I'll go and have a dip.
Are you off to the Northern Territory this weekend with the Speed Series, or are you not?
No, save my jet lag for... Not jet lag, my red eye for Perth next weekend.
Fair enough, fair enough. So, yeah, because I saw you on Monday night and I was like, hang on, I need to be getting ready for some photography and media commitments, surely. But no, not the case. But watching on from home like the rest of us, looking forward to that. Or seeing what I can of the highlights this weekend because I'm down in Sydney for some karting commitments. But yes, all the very best to those making the trek up to the Northern Territory to the top end for the Speed Series' first voyage around Hidden Valley Raceway. There's a circuit I'd love to see scanned into this universe. That would be a hell of a lot of fun, I reckon, boys. What do you reckon?
Yep, surely would. I reckon. I'm gonna go so I can do at least one lap before qualifying starts for the.
Okay, well, come back and finish this discussion a little bit later on, yeah.
All right. Cheers, boys.
After the Supercars. Thank you. Good luck. Go well. And overtaking opportunities not as freely available to him around the Chicago street circuit as what they were Road America. So we'll look forward to seeing how that goes. Neely, you were going to chime in, were you?
No.
No? Okay. I just
Let's
saw
not man a few words.
I just saw the light up at your end. I was like, hang on. We'll get to Dale Sharp very shortly, who's just slid into the booth. But let me finish with you, Andrew Dyson. Very interesting night. By no means did you have it your own way at any point. Very different to what we've seen from you in GT1 and also, the Supercar when we saw you there a couple of weeks ago as well, in the sense that John Merritt kept you honest for every step of the way in race one. I mean, you expect that from Merritt, but I guess it's also part of the way in which this circuit lends itself to close, tight-knit racing. It's very hard when everybody's so tightly bunched, time-wise, to break away and to build a gap.
Yeah, it is pretty hard to get away from everybody, and you don't. I mean, I certainly don't expect to. Not in these cars, and not with people like. Fair enough to Ryan. He's obviously very good, even though he put no time in. He's actually pretty fast. He jokes about it, but whatever. He's all right. Don't tell him I said that. And John obviously is really good as well. So you're never going to drive away from those guys. And to be honest, when you're driving with guys like John and a whole bunch of other dudes, you can roll into a corner side by side, you can go through it side by side, and then come out the other side by side. And so really, it doesn't make it hard. It actually makes it easy to go out there and have a good race because whether you're on the inside, outside, whatever, that you're gonna still be on the road. So it's really good to race with dudes like that.
If only we could have it that clean in Formula V tomorrow night. I'm not holding my breath, though. As soon as they interlock the wheels, all hell breaks loose, as Brett Bradbury and a few others will attest, Storm Weggett as well. Oh, Mr. Heaney's in the house. We'll catch up with El Presidente in just a few moments as well. To wrap it up with you, Dicer. So I didn't get a chance to ask you a couple of weeks ago because you're in the Supercar, not the BMW, right? So talk to me about, because I've asked your teammate about his impressions of this car. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it's the copy and paste low powered sort of handly car though. In typical BMW fashion, it's a little bit certainly not as good as the GR86 around the corners. So that makes it a little more interesting. Braking zones are pretty long. Seems to not have really good brake performance, but certainly a little bit more top speed. So it's a little more slipperier. Not as much tow. Yeah, it's good. Makes for some good racing. I think the front roll bar in it might be a bit soft, so it does make it get a little bit. It does some funny stuff. Me and Ryan were talking about it during the race. But other than that, it's a pretty good car. Yeah, I think it's actually of all the new cars that are coming out lately, it's a credit to iRacing because all the new stuff that's coming out is really good to drive.
And it's interesting too because obviously there's people that love the car, there's people that loathe it. You're never going to please everybody, but it doesn't matter whether you like it or loathe it. Your versatility serves you very well. No matter what you jump behind the wheel of at the moment, you're finding your way to the front. What's the secret to the success?
Man, you start practicing slow to work out how to go fast. That's probably my little theory.
And it's not just you as well, mate. I mean, as you just mentioned with your teammate Ryan Jones, versatility just seems to be a word that is attributable to several drivers within the DPR stable.
Yeah, there's lots of dudes that are really fast, man. I mean, not everyone races all the races during the week, and some of the guys only have a bit of time to do some, one race here and there. And there's a few dudes that have decided to race the GT3 stuff, and you got dudes like Reece Keane, who's doing really well. Philip Worley's jumped in. First time I think he's been in the club ever.
Yes.
And a whole bunch of other dudes too, like obviously Edmonds, we know how good he can be. I think he won a race by 30 seconds like last time he jumped in. So, there's plenty of dudes that are really good, and there's plenty of other new guys that are coming in as well, like Luke Lund, and we've got Damien McBay, who joined quite a long time ago now, but they're starting to get more involved in league racing stuff more so than officials, which is really cool, because I always reckon when it comes to league racing, or clubs in the case of GSRC, that this is where you can really have the best type of racing and the best experience.
And Phil Worley's an interesting one as well, because he's selected the Chev, mate, in GT3, and there hasn't been a lot of love for that one more broadly across the respective GT3 splits that we offer here, which has now gone to 4 and also undergone name changes, which we detailed on Monday night. But it's interesting to have a different approach, because obviously we're so used to seeing drivers go for what's popular, what's quick, etc. Nice to see someone go against the grain and go with a car that's a little bit more hard work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think last time I raced GT3, I did the same thing. I jumped in the Corvette for something a little bit different. I don't think it's any good. That's probably one of those cars I really don't like. So probably a bit of a theme there. I'm a sucker for punishment too. But Willie really likes it. He really likes the Acura, which tends to handle really similarly. So he's doing pretty good with the Corvette, and I mean, really, I think it's fun to be in a different car than everybody else. So I'm slightly partial to choosing something that's not as popular as well sometimes.
And just very quickly before I get to Mr. Heaney, and remembering we've got the Supercar starting up at 8:45, folks. So you will see the screen go to our holding pattern, our intermission screen, in just a few moments. We'll keep.
That's
talking
8:40,
over the
Zach.
top
So
of
we're
it.
gonna have to get a move on.
Are they starting early?
8:40 is the broadcast time on the spreadsheet.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, well, the race starts 8:45, so you're more than okay to transition between the two if you can. Although, if there's a way for, because I know we can do it with Schmidtke and Lavis, if you can keep the mics live whilst you do that, I'm more than happy for you to get us ready to go to Chicago. I'll keep talking to Greg and Dale in the meantime and wrap up with Daiso. There we go. There it is. Provided that everybody at home can still hear us at this particular point. I'm sure they'll wedge into the comment section if they won't or can't. So 8:40 for broadcast, yes, and 8:45 cars on grid. So when pictures come in from Chicago, everybody at home will be picking up our coverage of qualifying, and we're looking forward to seeing how all that plays out. Welcome into Dale Sharp and Greg Heaney. Get to them in a moment. Daiso, let me finish with you. You've won 3 of the last 4 sprint races, but we go back to 30-minute mode next week. And Sean Mack just saying, let the Supercar boys cook. Oh, God. That is, of course, I'm not sure what that's in reference to, whether that's the summer heat of Chicago or the track temperature and what it's going to do to the tyres, but we'll find out very shortly. Daiso, Spa next week, 30 minutes. How do you feel about that? And more specifically, can you keep the winning run going?
I don't know, man. It's a tough one, because with, like I was saying earlier, when you're the lead car, for example, or if you've got a car really close to you, you don't even need to be the lead car. It feels like you're getting pushed through the corners, so it's really hard to make breakaways and stuff like that, unless everyone's really battling, like we saw tonight with Richard, who was able to kick himself with a nice little gap there in front. So, if you can be fast enough and get to the front, you're certainly not going anywhere. So it'll be on for everybody, really. Everyone will be a chance if you're in the top 5, top 10.
All right, very nicely done. Terrific to catch up with you, mate. Appreciate that. Go well for the balance of the week. Looking forward to seeing you in the GT1s carving up again on Friday night. And obviously we'll look forward to seeing what you bring to the table here next week, knowing full well that if you can keep this run up, you're going to be a championship contender at the back end of the campaign. Once those drop rounds come into consideration, you've got 1 at your disposal and you've burned a 0. So the points haul that you've got at the moment is the points haul you're going to take, minus 1 round rather than 2. So looking forward to seeing how the rest of it plays out. Of course, we go to Oran Park in round 5, Long Beach round 6, Lime Rock round 7, then off to Suzuka Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, which I'm very excited about, and the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval for round 10, the triple super sprint finale there. Very nicely done, mate. Thank you to you. Who would you like to thank?
Thank you. Just thank you guys for doing the little TV show, and shout out to everyone at the club who puts this on, as always.
And and very nice to have you, of course, a comedian in the making. I'm looking forward to that Melbourne International Comedy Festival debut from you in a year's time or so, once you get the routine all set after the efforts here with the Supercars a couple of weeks ago. And, of course, Jonesy being the gift of the gab, doing the media and commentary work that he does. Good to have you two in the booth. Nice change of pace to have two representatives from the same team, let alone just one. On that subject, we'll get to Greg Heaney. Go well, mate. We'll see you Friday night.
Thank you, and let's let these other guys speak, so I'm getting the hell out of here.
He's gone. Andrew Dyson out of here. Greg Heaney, good evening to you. Chaos right throughout the field. Action plenty. Battles aplenty. What was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, it was actually really good. I had a cracking little last lap battle with Dale at the end of race 1. He had me into turn 1, and then I had him by the run out of the last corner, so it was actually quite good. And then race 2 was obviously pit stop required, and run it, have some little battles and here and there, and just keep my nose clean. And the understeer was real going through through the kink on the back straight, so that was just a matter of trying to keep it off the wall. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it was pretty good. It was just a good, fun racing.
Let's talk about the rest of the stable, mate, because there were a couple of Whiskey Business entries out there tonight, but I'm so impressed to see after 3 weeks we're still getting fields pushing nearly 40 entries in the BMW Motorsport Challenge. No sign of any drop-off just yet.
No, not at this point. I mean, most of them are all tracks we all know and love and like racing and stuff, and it's a free car, so I mean, the more the merrier. So I don't foresee much drop-off in the series all the way through, so we'll see what happens.
Unfortunately, your teammate Nathan Michael, I reckon I saw across the bottom of our screen at one point, wore an invoice. But how'd the rest of the stable find the night?
Well, it was only myself and Nathan.
Okay.
Mitch Wood was in there at the start during the practice session.
What happened?
He claims he doesn't have enough brain cells to be able to deal with 2 different types of cars. That's his words, not mine. So he'll be on track tonight in the Supercars.
I like it. Yep. Okay. So there is a retraction to the penalty that was issued to John Merritt earlier on, the incident with Alex Barrelon. Right. I don't know whether he still hangs by the penalty that is probably coming with the incident with Richard Brookfield. I'm sure that's under review at the moment, but the one with Alex Barrelon has just been revoked. So Merritt, he was still in play. He was still in play right up until the incident with Richard Brookfield. So that probably adds more sting to the tail on that one, really.
Yeah, I did look at that one, and I was worded in server that the Alex had PM'd John and said, "Sorry, mate, my bad." I had a look back at it. I'm like, well, I'll leave it up to race control. I had different opinions on it, but I'll leave it up to the guys in race control to deal with that. Not my hat in there today, so I'll stay out of that one. But yeah, no. All in all, it was a good race, good races. Unfortunately, Nathan copped the penalty. I think the time penalty part of that possibly may be a little bit too high, but it is what it is. And I think Nathan was going to potentially have a chat with race control, but I think Nate's jumped in for the Supercars as well, so he'll probably do it post Supercars.
Yes.
But yeah, apart from that, no, it was cracking little night of racing, and yeah, definitely wasn't going to make it easy for Dale on that last lap. No. That's for sure.
No, and that's the thing as well. Nor would you. I mean, you're very good mates with the Aussie Racers stable, and vice versa. Aussie Racers very good mates with Whiskey Business. So, but when you're out there on the racetrack, every man for himself, right? Don't make it easy. And I'm sure Dale wouldn't have wanted you to just keel over and open the door either. So
I was intent on making it as hard as possible for him as well. Yeah,
that's right.
Make him work for his 25th position.
I love it.
Every position's worth a point now, or points now.
Absolutely, it is. So every man for himself. And that's the good thing about this series so far. We've seen battles right throughout the pack. It hasn't just been confined to the top end of town, which is really good to see. Obviously, Greg was steering by for the Supercars. How many troops have you got represented here, please?
I think we might only have 2 tonight. I'm not sure if Luke King's on track, but I
Nathan
know
and
obviously.
Mitch Wood, I can see. Yeah.
Yeah, so Nathan and Mitch are out there. Mitch has jumped into after having a couple of weeks off with reservist duties. He jumped in. He goes, "How am I elite?" And it's like, "Because you're
How are you
fast."
not?
He's like, "I haven't won a race in expletive a long time."
Yes.
And it's it's obviously shows in the pace that he's had towards the back end of last season, that it's proven that, well, mate, you're quick enough to wear the elite tag. So here you go.
Correct. I'm all for it. Hey, we'll see you on track tomorrow night for the Vs. What about the BMWs around Spa, though? How are you feeling about that?
I'll be at Spa next week.
Yes.
That's going to be a long lap. I thought Road America was a long lap at 2 and a bit minutes. Jeez,
Yeah, 2:26 around there, and Spa
Spa's
being
gonna be
an extra
pushing.
half a kilometre. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a lot more uphill as well.
Correct.
There's a lot more uphill there. So I don't know. I
And
reckon
more
you're going to be
corners.
pushing almost 3 minutes a lap, I reckon.
So maybe 10 or 11 laps the race distance there in your opinion. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out, mate. I'd love to stay and chat, but the cars are about to be gridding up here. We'll see you tomorrow night. Enjoy everything that happens between now and then, and we'll chat after the Vs.
No worries. Cheers.
Mitch Wood, waiting on you, Greg, says Mitch Wood. Okay, interesting. That'll just be for team talk, pep talk in the Whiskey Business Racing Discord channel, no doubt. Chicago Street Circuit in Illinois, the venue for the latest round, number 3 of 10 in the Trophi.AI Supercar Series for you, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have Dale Sharp jumping into the booth alongside yours truly, Zach Capen. Big thanks to Tyson Broad for filling the seat, keeping it warm for me last week. We're looking forward to seeing how this race plays out. Of course, the Supercar points coming into this round will show you that we've had 4 races so far. Alex Tzikis leading the elite split from Ryan Barber, Ryan Nielsen, Nathan Michael and Andy Barber, and only 34 points separating the top 5 at the moment. And in the open split, we can tell you the development split, it is Jamie Fleming on top there on 273, 17 clear of Jeff Adams. 18 then back to Jason Tierman, who has 7 on the 4th place car of Max Carroll and JD Dent alongside Jordan Pianazzola, tied for 5th on points in the dev split at the moment. The grid is that. 23% humidity, partly cloudy conditions, 36 degrees, on track 30 the ambient. Those are southwesterly winds and they're at 6 kilometres an hour. 5:31 in the afternoon local server time. Will be Buchanan and James Scott, the front row for Revolution E-Racing. Then Adam Hayne and Ryan Nielsen, the second row. Ryan Jones, Sam Cullen, the third row. So it was very good of Jonesy to go and get that lap in when he could. And Dan Yeaman alongside Alex Tzikis, Andy Barber and Dylan Walker, the top 5 rows on this grid. Further back to Ryan Barber and Dominic Buttle, Daniel Snedden, Liam Haycock, Mitch Wood, Thomas Wilson, Callum Maxwell, Adam Lavis, Jackson Sufong, Wade Sheedy. Then Sean Rigby and Jamie Fleming from 11. Big field tonight, huge field. Hayden Watson and Max Carroll from 12, JD Dent and Drew Collins from 13, David Uni and Jeff Adams from 14, Nathan Michael, Jordan Pianazzola from 15, Colin Bennett, Mitch Noble, Aidan Rankin, Richard King, Aaron Bryan, Jason Tierman, Bryce Barker, Jake Partridge and Eduardo Zamora around out a 39-car field. I can understand why Dale Sharp's happy to reside with me in the commentary box for this one, because 39 cars on a straight circuit, pure chaos, ladies and gentlemen. The first of 2 for the night, a 2-race super sprint round of the Supercar Series. Let's go to work in the streets of Chicago. And what about that start from Will Buchanan? Adam Hayne went with him. James Scott has bogged it down and lost 2 spots. Unbelievable jump from Will Buchanan, and Adam Hayne benefiting from James Scott bogging it down and dropping to 4th spot. Ryan Nielsen slotted up in a 3rd as well. Ryan Jones has made an okay start up in a 5th again. He knew that he needed to put a lap down. He went out there and did that. And he's the beneficiary of that decision, no doubt about it. You'd rather be up at the pointy end of this field than boxed in, buried in the pack here on the streets of Chicago. All 39 cars still running, a couple of clouds to the wall early on, but we've made a safe start. Dale Sharp, a very good evening to you, mate. Welcome aboard. We'll get your thoughts on the BMWs a little bit later on, but I'm just waiting for the carnage to ensue here.
Yeah, it's still a very quick start so far, considering the concrete jump from 39 an interesting race. James Scott's had it pretty much all his own way the first 2 rounds, and looks like Will Buchanan, he's got James Scott back in the pack, and he's going to have to work for it tonight.
Absolutely is, and I mean, obviously these guys are juggling their campaigns with the Logitech Supercar Series as well. We're seeing Will Buchanan make a couple of cameo appearances there. They're very lucky at the moment. The GSR season isn't being compromised by that because the Enduros are on the weekends, so they're not doing any Wednesday night racing at the moment. It's Friday or Sunday, depending upon the Enduro, and of course the Mathis 1000 coming up for them on that Sunday, August 16. I'm jumping in to call that one with Scott Rankin and Stephen Clark. I'm looking forward to it as well. So we'll see quite a few of these guys in action, but the fact we are the beneficiaries of the fact that they don't have much Wednesday night running at the moment, because that means they're plying their trade here. And it's good to see that Will Buchanan and James Scott are holding sway. Alex Tzikis and Ryan Barber, Ryan Nielsen, Nathan Michael, Andy Barber, the top 5 here, and that goes to the point of the fact that neither Scott nor Buchanan were here last week. They were first and second. Trouble. Sam Cullen, Ryan Nielsen. Ryan Nielsen, Sam Cullen in trouble on the second lap. It didn't take long, and we have our first bit of carnage, our first bit of trouble. Eduardo Zamora has also parked up, and he is done. Eduardo Zamora's out of business. We've picked up James Scott. This is lap 2. We haven't even got through the end of the second lap without carnage. And big positional losses there for both Ryan Nielsen and Sam Cullen, down 33 and 32 spots, respectively. They have been able to turn it around and get back going. This is what happened with Eduardo Zamora. Oh, no. Bang. Absolutely. Lighting up the rear end. So much weight, pedal to metal. And if you're a little bit too greedy on applying that throttle, it will pick you up and spit you out. Here's Ron Nielsen. This is what happened. Yep. Every day of the week.
It was okay until it wasn't.
Absolutely. And that was, I think in all of that, Sam Cullen had to do a little bit of a redress. Actually, no. That was one of the Orbit drop bear cars. Daniel Snedden got caught up in trouble. I'm not sure what's happened to Sam Cullen here, because he's either been, so arrived on scene. Daniel Snedden's clipped the car of Nielsen, but then Cullen's just dropped off the face of the planet. He's sustained a packet loss, I think. Ryan Nielsen's come in and out again in 5 seconds. Hayden Watson crunches the wall coming onto the main straight.
Almost exactly like the Eduardo Zamora one.
Different point of the racetrack, but yeah, identical in terms of the type of incident and the inevitable result, which Noble has been poleaxed.
The amount of crashes here, I could just queue up crashes.
Correct. I think you will for race 2. Mitchell Noble is now on pit road as well. I still can't find Sam Cullen, so I think he's had a packet loss issue and dropped off the face of the planet. He was the other one caught up in an incident there. He was the second one dropping down the leaderboard with, and there you have it. Yeah, we couldn't find him at all.
Can confirm he's had a packet loss issue.
Thank you, Dale. Appreciate that, mate. Because I'm not in the service, so I'm flying a little bit blind with that sort of stuff. But yes. So when Nielsen dropped 33 spots, he dropped 32, but Nielsen was able to get back to pit lane, and Cullen has not been able to. So Cullen's done for the night. Noble is on pit road and trying to obtain a fast repair. Zamora's out, so we're down 2 at least. Ryan Nielsen is going to be on the comeback trail in the second race here. Jake Partridge has had a moment in the Shell Falcon inspired Mustang, and that's at turn 1. Buchanan, Hayne, Scott and Jones, the top 4 at the moment. This is race number 5 of the season, race number 6 to follow. These guys are off to Phillip Island next week, and with apologies in advance, Mr. Sharp, because I'm not here for Phillip Island, and I'm not here for Sebring, and I'm not here for Adelaide, and they were 3 of the favourites that I looked at and circled when I saw the calendar, and then I looked and thought, oh no, I've got to be elsewhere. Porsche round, Jim Jeffries Porsche round in as many weeks. I don't think I see you guys until middle August on a Wednesday night after tonight.
Well, it's a good problem to have, isn't it, Zach? That you're in high demand and you got plenty of work going, but yeah, it's there's obviously a lot that goes on in the with the committee and the broadcast in the background, and I'm just now getting my first look at it, the way they all work together, and and that's partly why I'm here tonight, So just to try and step in wherever there's a hole, and that's pretty much what the sort of thing that keeps this club running as it is, the season in, season out.
How are you enjoying the committee side of things, Dale, now that you're on there, by the way?
It's a big eye-opener. Like, there is a lot that goes on in the background to keep everything running the way it is. So it's a big eye-opener. So initially I've just sort of just been observing and taking in what's been going on, and I wasn't really sure how I could help out with the committee. Like I have sort of limited technology and stuff like that. But But you just see what's happening in the committee. You see where there's holes, and never in my wildest dreams I think I'd be sitting here calling a supercar race. But I'm like, well, if talking about racing was a superpower, I can do that. So,
geez, they were lucky to get through there. Wade Sheedy, very alert to the fact that hole, that gap was going to close very quickly on him, and he got out of the accelerator and tucked in behind. He holds 14th at the moment. Jackson Sufong, the car ahead of him. He's got Sean Rigby and Adam Lavis in the rear view as well, where this is lap 6 of a 16-minute race, ladies and gentlemen. We're clocking at around 1 minute 27.255. So, look, I'm not a numbers person, Dale, as you know. But I reckon we're looking good for 11 laps here. The pace of Will Buchanan will be the determining factor as to whether or not we get any further than that. And again, Sheedy looking for a move that was fast evaporating and eluding him.
This is good. These two, they're all giving 110%. They're not giving an inch more than they need to, but they're a very good battle.
Indeed. Now, it's interesting too, because when we have a look, I've just had a Facebook alert come through, and apparently Facebook are now introducing AI into group pages, not actual pages, but group forums. So that'll be an interesting read. AI taking over the bloody world. Certainly be doing the commentary for us, Dale. Will Buchanan, James Scott, Adam Hayton and Ryan Jones the top 4. Now remember that there's an invert top 10 here. Currently the invert pole being held by Mitch Wood as they make their way through the back section of the circuit on lap number 6. Our leaders are on lap 7. Will Buchanan already halfway through that. And we're of course heading for what we think will be 11. I don't know if we're going to be able to get 12 laps out of this one. I'm all for it if we can, but I don't think time is going to be on our side. But it's interesting, right? So, with the exception of 1 or 2 incidents, obviously Sammy Collins had the packet loss, Mitch Noble, Daniel Snedden on pit road after their respective run-ins, JD Dent's having a run-in as well. There's Jordan Pianazzola trying to wrestle his way through the field. He's in 19th at the moment, up 11 spots. He likes climbing through the field, this Jordan. He races well. Max Carroll, Ryan Nielsen have been in for their respective stops. We've already got traffic playing a part. So much to be keeping an eye on out there. But the top 7 are spread out. It's daylight. Gaps between 1st to 2nd, 2nd to 3rd, 3rd to 4th, 4th to 5th, 5th to 6th, and 6th back to 7th. But Ryan Barber's got his hands full with Andy Barber, and Jackson Sufong has finally conceded. Forceful move on the inside. That was really good stuff from Sean Rigby to jar the door open, wriggle down the inside, and break the defence of Jackson Sufong, which had lasted for so many laps. Sufong now on the back foot, trying to get back past Sean Rigby, but also defend Wade Sheedy in the process. Adam Lavis is in behind them as well, our old mate Nav. And we mean that in a teammate sense as well as a broadcast sense. Because, of course, he's part of the Aussie Racers stable. So Dale sits there as a neutral, as a committee member and as a commentator for us, but he's also got one eye on his Aussie Racers teammates, because how could you not? You're such a well bonded group after 6 years of GSRC participation. So always one eye on how they're faring. It's the same when Dan Yeaman's in here and any of the Logitech Orbit Drop Their Motorsport boys are out there on the circuit. You've got a keen interest in how they fare. 8 laps in, okay, so sprint. Okay, so I didn't. This is me just not paying full attention to detail, right? I didn't realise, unless Neely's just changed that bit of detail and put it up on the screen. Yes, 8 of 11. So even though I'm sitting here crunching the numbers, wondering if we can eke out a 12th lap, the answer is no, we cannot.
It'll be 11. Yep.
It will be 11. Even though I'm going to be very cheeky right about now and say that with the lap pace of Will Buchanan, it would have been touch and go as to whether or not we could have on time squeezed in a 12th lap, but we won't because it's curtailed to 11. So we have a lap count for the super sprints and sprint races, which is good to see. Makes it easier for us to make sense of it. At the end of the day, people have grown to loathe, because of the amount of it that we're seeing nowadays. People have grown to loathe work ruining my plans on a Wednesday night. Once again, love to see it. Hello, Slady. Good evening to you, and let us know when you're going for a hit of golf, mate. I'll come and drive the caddy for you. I did see that post earlier today. He's trying to get pick up some golf sessions on the courses of the Central Coast, in and amongst. Oh, geez, that's anti. Sheedy. Whoa.
Getting competitive.
The elbows are out now. Laver's just hanging back there. He doesn't want to get involved in what's going to unfold here.
Yeah, he's just hanging back, waiting to see if it sorts himself out and try not to get involved. But here we go.
Over and under, Super. They've got plenty of real estate to work with on the exit of the right hand.
Oh, no!
We're crashing in a straight line again on a Wednesday night. Can you believe that? Sufog and Sheedy have come together. It was bound to happen. Lavis, the beneficiary, up 2 spots, moves into 14. Both these two have got back going, but it's a case of what might have been. And it's more work for our crew in race control to sort through.
I would love to see an in-car view of Adam there, because he was sitting back waiting for exactly that to happen, and it happened right at the edge of his bonnet.
Saw it coming from a postcode away. Absolutely saw it coming.
Yeah, pretty much.
Called it. Picked it like a dirty nose. Have a look at this on replay. Sheedy, Sufong. Oh, Sufong's come down. You can see Sufong just coming across to the left. He wasn't clear. That's certainly my take on it. I'm not the expert here, Dale. You're the driver. What do you think?
Yeah, it certainly looked that way. I'd have to look at a couple of different angles before I played race control on that one. But yeah, it looked like just trying to take a little bit more space. It's a shame, really. I don't think there was any intent in that. They were both racing really well, and as you know, it all happens so fast. It's not hard to, especially when, you know, what have you got, 1.5 tons and 700-800 horsepower. You know, it's easy to move a little bit offline and get into another one, and it can turn really ugly really quickly, as we saw there.
So, white flags in the air. Now, good news for Will Buchanan. As he's passed the line, we've just gone past that threshold. So we're going to run bang on 16 minutes for the 11 laps. And look at the pace, right? The pace is 1 minute 26.713. That's the fastest lap of the race. But you can't keep that pace up. And one of the criticisms we have of the supercar, irrespective of whether you've got a hot track or a cold track, is that the tyres just deteriorate so damn quickly that the pace gets sucked right out of them. So you've got a couple of laps there to work with it. M2RC was much easier than this, says Thorn Leggett. I wouldn't disagree with that statement. I know you're in there with Glen Arnold at the moment. Good luck with that. As we watch Will Buchanan make his way through to clean up and secure a race win here. It'll be his first of the season. He broke well clear of James Scott. The victory margin is going to be in excess of 4.5 seconds. And Will Buchanan's dialed up beautifully tonight for AITX and Revolution E-Racing. Magnificent stuff from Will Buchanan. Got the whole shot and did not look back. Fended off Adam Hayne, who fell back into the clutches of James Scott, eventually fell behind him, and he's been able to keep Ryan Jones at bay. It's been all Will Buchanan in the opening race of the night here on the streets of Chicago. No surprise that one of the dominant forces of the series, from one of the dominant teams in this series, finds his way to the top step of the summit. He's victorious. in the sprint race on the streets of Chicago. Nicely done. Will Buchanan gets his first race win of the season in the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. James Scott in for second. It's a team 1-2, although put an asterisk next to that because they are a team within a team at the moment. They've divided to conquer. It's still the Revolution E-Racing banner, but they have got the Shield Coat side and the AITX side, of which James Scott is on one and Will Buchanan's on the other. But it's a team brand Revolution E-Racing 1-2 nevertheless. And Brooksy will have a smile the size of a Cheshire cat on him at this point. Adam Hayne in for third. Ryan Jones, Alex Kazika still on Walker, Ryan Barber, Daniel Yeaman in for 8. Andy Barber, Mitch Wood up 5 spots to get the invert pole. Then Tom Wilson, Dominic Buddle, Sean Rigby, Adam Lavis, Jeff Adams into 15th, Jamie Fleming, Jordan Pianazzola, and then Nathan Michael, Aidan Rankin, and Wade Sheedy, the top 20. Slady Gladder didn't turn up. Willie Buchanan is making even the likes of Mr. Scott look silly. Yeah, exactly. Yes. But Slady's on the lookout for some golf buddies because at the moment, and by the way, to be specifically abundantly clear, I said buddies, as in mates. He'll get the buggy when he gets to the golf course because he's looking to add to his list of hobbies. He's obviously killing some time on the lakes and rivers nearby, doing some fishing at the moment. Now he's looking to go and play a game or two of golf as well. Invert pole for Mitch makes Greg Heaney very happy. We've got a 2-minute warm-up to work our way through here. There are the results. A couple of drivers yet to be allocated a split here, ladies and gentlemen. Hence the orange numbers on black plates that you see there in the positional side of that table at the moment. 1 and 10, of course, 1 through 10, all elite split competitors. Adam Lavis, the winner of the Dev split in all of that. But yes, we've got 3 drivers in the top 20 alone yet to be allocated a split. I dare say they get that treatment tonight, boys, given that it is week 3 of the season, given that this is usually that point of the campaign in which Adam Lavis goes and has a look at all the statistical data necessary to allocate the slots accordingly. And we'll see what happens from there. But yes, very good stuff from the likes of Willie Buchanan and James Scott at the top end of this field. They're a cut above at the moment, Dale Sharp, and it bodes well for Revolution E-Racing having 2 highly competitive and successful drivers in their corner as part of their arsenal and artillery.
Yeah, absolutely. And last week they made it no secret that they are from the same team, but opposite sides of the garage. And we saw them battle just as hard as, if not harder than you would anyone else. So it was really good to see. But yeah, at the end of the day, they got their cars at the right end of the field. But it's going to be interesting now with those 2 lining up 9th and 10th. Trying to get through the pack and make positions without getting caught in any chaos. Seems like too daunting of a task for me, hence why I'm not out there tonight, but it's going to be interesting to see how those 2 approach it.
I was going to say, you're having a dabble in a few different cars at the moment, mate, but you've decided to take a little bit of time out of the supercar. I can't help but notice that that's a recurring theme throughout the club. There's a few people that are trying something different because, you can apparently have too much of a good thing. Some of them just wearing a little bit tired of the supercar. Is that how you're feeling as well?
Not really. It was, like everyone, you're juggling, you're juggling real life commitments as well as your sim racing. And look, I just wasn't really happy with how I was going in the supercar, and it was one car I couldn't fully figure out. There's something these guys understand about it that I could never get, so I basically just decided to drop it and race something I might be more on the pace of,
Top 10 competitors, I'll come back to you, Sharpie. Top 10 competitors are, of course, an invert from where they finished in the opening race. Watch for the Barber boys for Grungland Motorsport on the outside of rows 1 and 2, respectively. Watch Dan Yeaman, he's a dark horse from 3rd on the grid. But watch how far how much ground James Scott and Will Buchanan can claw back from the 5th row of the grid and can Ryan Jones and Adam Hay make life a little bit more difficult for them. 2:30 local server time, 15 km/h winds, 29 degrees the ambient. Those winds are northeasterly, 25% humidity. We're away. Track temp still in excess of 40 degrees. Let's go. 3 wide already. A little bit of a gap further back. I think somebody bogged to the start and bogged it down. We do have a field of
we got chaos at the back.
7. And there it is. That was inevitable. And turn 1 becomes a parking lot. And that will spread the field out very thin very quickly. And watch for them through. So, yeah, more trouble on the run out of turn 2. Bang.
No.
The track's about to be blocked here, Dale. That's an enormous crash.
This might be a safety car.
They might have to call one. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, and at that point you'd kiss the 18 lap marker goodbye. They've all managed to somehow get out of there, with the exception of Liam Haycock and Aidan Rankin, who've got on the road very quickly. Eduardo Zamora a non-starter, Sam Cullen a non-starter, and we now have Liam Haycock on pit road as well. So we're down to 34 on track at this point, and there has been a lot of argy-bargy early on. Mitch Noble up 12 spots, JD Dent up 10, and also Jake Partridge as well. Ryan Nielsen up 9 on the comeback trail after his own misfortune earlier on, and Jordan Pianazzola already up 7 spots on the opening lap. The Dev Split leader is 10th. He's managed to get through all of that carnage and rubbish, and he's managed to find his way up at a 10th early on here. Ryan Jones lost 5 spots on the opening lap, 23 for Ryan Barber, so he's the big loser in all of that. Aaron Bryan, Hayden Watson, Callum Maxwell also compromised, so too Jackson Sufong and the 3 guys that have already towed to pit lane. Well, it was inevitable. It was quiet up until then, Sharpie, but the more you bunch this field up on a street circuit and say, right, let's go through the motions at the start procedure more and more and more, the more likely you are to have something like that occur, especially with the invert and other factors there as well. We got lucky in race 1 with a clean start there, not so lucky race 2, and it's compromised quite a few races very early in the piece, remembering that it is 18 laps long. It can't be won on lap 1, and a few of them have gone out and proven that.
Yeah, we've got a lot of casualties come out at the start of that one, but we've seen Daniel Yeaman, he's just taken the lead off of Mitch Wood. He'll be looking to try and disappear, because these 2 boys are coming, the 2, Buchanan and Scott. Now they were around about all that turn 1 chaos. They seem to have got through without fairly unscathed, and they're still there and in the hunt. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, whether Yeaman can sail off and hold them off.
Indeed. So I'll be having a look. No caution. Yeah, absolutely. No caution thrown. And the reason for that is race control saw that the incident had cleaned up very quickly. Had the track remained blocked for a substantial period of time, they would have thrown one, but because we have manual race control, not automatic, it's looked after by our guys, not iRacing, so they would have had to have pulled the trigger and hit the yellow flag button themselves. They have opted not to do that, and they let this race run green. And there's the guy that I said to watch for, leading the way. Got the jump, 2 spots. Dan Yeaman clear. Adam Hayne up into 3rd. Will Buchanan 4th, and James Scott up into 6th spot. The 3 guys that we said to watch for from the bottom 2 rows of the top 10. Ryan Jones compromised. He's back in 11th, trying to get by Jordan Pianazzola. Adam Hayne backs out of a potential move down on the inside of Mitch Wood. Oh boy, hard to find any room in all this to take a breath and come up for rare. Hayne, commitment plus on the inside. There wasn't much in that, but it was clean and he got away with it. And that's unfortunately for Mitch Wood resulted in the floodgates opening up, and he struggled to get down and contain them. Will Buchanan, as soon as Adam Hayne went monkey see, monkey do, he was like, I want a piece of this. And the urgency was ramped up significantly. He knew the importance of getting by as quickly as he could. He did just that, and Mitch Wood now falls back into the clutches of James Scott.
Well, I can tell you now, Mitch would be absolutely loving this. You know, he's got up there courtesy of the invert. He knew the storm was coming, and knew those guys were coming, and he's fighting for every inch he's got. You know, so he'll be having the time of his life.
Absolutely. Some really solid stuff here early on. And there's always winners and losers in an invert situation. None of these guys have managed to retain their starting position. Cue the carnage, cue the chaos, cue the pit lane sequence and strategy that's about to play out. There is a compulsory slash and dash component to this second race. And I must apologise, this is only a 2-race sprint format, folks. I've used the term super sprint a couple of times out of force of habit because the very last time we were here, which was round 1 of last term, it was a 3-race super sprint format. But no, just the 2 tonight. This is the feature. And we will have a post-race show as soon as this one wraps up. Ryan Jones is now slotting his way up into 10th spot. Thomas Wilson went with him. All of that at the expense of Jordan Pianazzola, who's dropped back to 12th. And very quickly, this field is spreading out across the racetrack. Adam Lavis recovering from 2 minutes and 23 seconds on the tow rope. Daniel Snedden was on pit road as well and has parked up. Aidan Rankin out of the race as well. Liam Haycock remains on pit road and has been for 1 minute and 5 seconds. Across the line we go. We commence lap 5, 14 laps to go, 6 minutes in. So we're certainly on track time-wise.
Newman's not exactly disappearing up the road here.
No.
Adam Haynes sticking with him, and Will Buchanan, he looks keen to get past Haynes and lock on to the back of the Yeaman car. So as much as the field is sort of spread out, it's going to be on between this top 3 for the podium slots.
I think keep an eye on pit lane strategy, Dale. As you know, it played a vital role in the BMW race a few months ago from Road America. We saw that Andrew Dyson was able to work his way through the field, then time his run perfectly down pit road, come out with the race lead. The overcut worked for him. Probably some games going on here, some Mickey Mouse gamesmanship racecraft going on very shortly, because I think Yeaman was unfortunately, as much as he was a beneficiary of starting third, he was also then someone that lost out to all that garbage that happened on the opening lap, because the C's parted a lot quicker than you'd otherwise expect them to for Adam Hayne, for Will Buchanan, for James Scott to work their way through the field. The fact that they have latched onto his tail now means that he's got his work cut out for him to defend the real estate and keep these guys at bay for a whole lot longer than what he otherwise might have been expecting to have to contend with them for. And I reckon that they'll be trying to one-up each other on pit road. And we know that Yeaman's no slouch with regards to doing the maths, doing the fuel save, knowing the numbers, and knowing the requirements and what he's got to meet and the boxes he's got to tick. But Hayne, Buchanan and Scott will also be well aware of what they've got to do in order to get themselves either up onto the podium or up into the lead of this car race. And of course, for Will Buchanan, the chance is there to do the nightly double, which no one has been able to do so far this season.
Yeah, and talking about pit strategy and the games, I just keep an eye on James Scott here, because he's dropping back a bit, and I can tell you now he's not just losing pace, he's very much conserving fuel and tyre wear and thinking about the end of the race.
It was really entertaining a few weeks ago when we had Andrew Dyson in here. He won races 1 and 3, finished 5th in race 2. So the chances there for Will Buchanan to go out and grab 2 wins himself and sweep the night. We don't have the chance to do a clean sweep of a super sprint again.
Go ahead, make it move.
Now that was forceful. And I don't know if race control is going to view that one too favourably. Hayne went down the inside and ended up compromising himself, but it's opened the door up. Buchanan sees it, sees the opportunity, goes for it, wants a real piece of all of that on Dan Yeaman, gets it. Walker comes to pit lane. Down the main straight we go. Buchanan and Scott team up, double up on... Oh, no, contact and gone. Bang, into the wall. Scotty locked it up on the entry of the corner. And he was a sitting duck in all of that, had nowhere to go. And Yeaman being on his outside was a passenger in all of that. And he limps away from the scene of the crime. Scotty's on the tow rope. All hell has broken loose. And it all started with Adam Hayne trying to wedge the door open. And that was on the move, going through the final part of the previous lap, trying to get through on Dan Yeaman, who's just now clattered the wall and is really battling with that car of his to get back to pit lane. Oh my goodness, all hell has broken loose on the streets of Chicago. Right, let's have a look at this on replay. So this was the move, Adam Hayne. You can see him going for it. went down the inside, got up the inside, but then the hip and shoulder, that didn't work.
And then couldn't get traction.
Yep.
And then it all bunched up.
So he lost out. He went for 1 and lost 2 and went back to 4th. But then that obviously unsettled Yeaman as well, to the point where Will Buchanan was able to wedge the door open in the same way. But then Scotty's on the outside. So let's go and have a look at Scotty at turn 1 here, because you can see him locking it up every day of the week. He locked it up on the run to turn 1, and Yeaman gets hung out to dry and also bites concrete as a result of that. Yeaman to pit lane.
And it's so easy to do. Like, if he pulls that move off, and then him and Buchanan are 1 and 2 and got the race under control, but just a little bit of a lock break, it's even the best of them can do it, and it just affects your turning that tiny bit, and that was it. Just couldn't quite get it turned in. Yep. I mean, there's only millimetres in that, with unfortunately bad consequences for James Scott, and I can tell you he's out of the session and out of the race.
Yeah. Parked up and done. So there's a couple of things here, because Scotty, as he was pulling it up, but obviously everything's locked up, seized up because of the brake lock. So you can see him just angling towards the corner and not being able to pull it up to turn it in properly the way that he would have liked. That's resulted in the contact with the left front of Yeaman and his rear right, and that's what sent them out into the wall. But how lucky was Scotty in the process of not being able to pull it up to not clean bowl Will Buchanan in the process as well. Obviously, it's brought Scotty's night to an end. It's compromised Yeaman, and in all of that, Will Buchanan's life has just been made so much bloody easier, in the sense that the C's part, he goes to the lead. He leads by 2.6. He's still got to do the compulsory splash and dash. But all of a sudden, he's not fighting with 3 of them. He's working with clear air, and the double now looks like it'll become a reality for him.
Yeah, he's got the brooms in his hand, looking to pull off the sweep, and it's going to be very hard to catch him from here. He can just run his own race, run his own pace. He can conserve fuel. He can. He can conserve his tyres and just put himself in a commanding position.
I didn't catch who that was, whether it was a car that was a lap down or whether it was a car that Yeaman was passing. But we've seen a little bit of trouble there on the run out of the penultimate corner of that lap. So many trip-up points around here. A, it's not the easiest car to drive. B, it's a concrete canyon. C, there are so many blind exits to corners. So you're driving into the unknown. You come out the other side, you're not sure whether you're going to see a car parked there or not. Oh boy, it's extraordinary. Aidan Rankin,
it's very bumpy as well.
And James Scott, the retirement so far. You're right, and that's a common trait for street courses, and Sebring as well, Dale.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not so much as the just a lock front brake, but yeah, it's very bumpy. So you can just catch some of those bumps in the braking marker or your turning point just on the awkward angle, and when you're on the limit of these things, it doesn't take much and suddenly you've got it very wrong when you're having a big accident.
Absolutely. Rightio. So we pick up Bryce Baker now down there in 24th position in the 104 Motorsport entry. 5 retirements, make it 6 now. Thomas Wilson has just parked up as well. And I think Jake Partridge might be about to do the same. He's on pit road at the end of lap 8, but not in a hurry to go anywhere. And critical lap now for Andy Barber, Alex Tzidkas, Nathan Michael and Richard King. They're all on pit road at this point. Will Buchanan leads from Adam Hayne. Ryan Jones there in for 3rd. Jordan Pianozola up into 4th. Have a look at our teammate, our commentary colleague. He's tearing it up very nicely. He's the leader of the open split, the dev split at the moment.
He's scraping concrete.
And he's on the ragged edge. The tyres are begging for mercy, and he'll give them a little reprieve very shortly by grabbing a new set when he comes to pit lane. And we can't be too far off seeing this field cleansed, Dale. A lot of drivers have already opted for the lane, be it through pure strategy or misfortune that they've encountered along the way, being caught up in somebody else's incident or having one of their own on their own accord. But we won't be too far away from seeing the rest of this field transit the lane grab a fresh set of rubber and get back out there and finish the job. We're past half race distance, so we're in the window. Lap 11 of 18, and that's Andy Barber on the comeback trail after it all went horribly wrong at the start. He's got through on the inside of Mitch Wood, of JD Dent, I should say, to get up into position number 11. The next target is actually Mitch Wood, who's holding down 10th. The biggest movers and shakers in this race, again, hard to actually make sense of that until we see the full field come in for their stop. Jamie Fleming to pit lane now. But yes, there have been some big moves in terms of plus positional gain in this race so far. James Scott, prior to that incident, had the fastest lap of the race, 127.347, I should say. Sorry, I was reading numbers ahead of time. And got myself tongue-tied in the process. Jamie Fleming to pit lane and the streets of Chicago. Overall, Dale, and Neil's here as well, I've never driven the circuit. I know you two probably have. What are your impressions of the circuit? I mean, is it one that you like? Is it one that you're sitting here and the feet are getting a little bit of itchy, a bit of an itchy feel about them as you're watching these cars go around? Or is it one that you're a bit not sold on?
No, it's absolutely. I do love it, and I'm glad to see it back on the NASCAR schedule. Just my pace in the supercar around here. Being stuck in the middle, you can cause big problems. So very quickly. So it's probably best I'm in here and not out there. I might have a absolute blast driving around here, but if I get it wrong and take someone else with me, then I'm sure they won't share the fun.
Now, Dan Yeaman's car is looking horribly worse for wear, and he's just going to be passed here by Alex Tzikas on the inside, I think, yes. But it's looking horrible. It's looking horrible for a car that's already completed his compulsory pit stop. So he's lost the front end twice tonight, as Dan Yeaman. Either that or he didn't take the fast repair in the pit stop, I'm not sure. And Alex Tzikas, wow, nearly had his front end chopped off on the run to turn one. Let's have a look at this. So this was the incident earlier on. So there's the damage initially done, right? That's fine, no worries there. But he's potentially had a second moment because he's already been to pit lane after that to complete his stop.
That's all that's on the log.
Copy that.
Like you say, I mean, we all have our things that we do, like unchecked tyres and we'll uncheck oil and that we do, and we might have accidentally unchecked fast repair and not taken it.
Correct. Although there it is coming back on there. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Let's have a look. I reckon, but the other thing too, not all the off-track alerts are going to register because there's no off-track to go to. The wall scrapes aren't always going to register, so there might be something in there that we find out from Dan himself about a little bit later on. At the moment he's got his hands full.
And it doesn't take much, it could be a 0x, a scrape on the wall that rips your front bumper bar off.
And Adam Hayne to pit lane this time through, mate. Ryan Jones is going to lead this race for the moment, but that will eventually change because he'll come to pit lane and Will Buchanan will re-inherit the lead. So Buchanan on track for the double tonight.
Well, as usually is the case, you probably want tyres before you need the fuel in these things. So, but Ryan Jones, his tyres will be very second-hand now, but he's going the overcut, stay out as long as possible, and he'll come out with some fresh rubber at the end and to be able to attack anyone he may come out behind.
He's going for that whole run the tank dry strategy. I think you'll find it's interesting too because it works for some people, it doesn't work for everyone. A lot of these guys have gone down the middle. Half race distance was a pretty good gauge as to where people wanted to pit and change their tyres. And again, it doesn't say much, does it, when the tyre life is only that shorter lifespan, isn't it?
Well, yeah, usually by now, I mean, these tyres have a tendency to go right off the cliff and it forces you to pit lane. So Ryan's done well to get 13 laps out of his tyres, and he's going around again, so I think you're right. He's just going to manage his tyres. He probably managed his tyres very well. Ran where he was, he maybe had some space. He's looked after his tyres, and and the big thing will be that if anyone he comes out behind, he's going to have that much fresher rubber everyone else that's pitted early, around about halfway, they'll already be starting to feel the effects of the worn tyres when Ryan comes out with the fresh ones.
Kudos to Ryan, clawing his way back up the field though. Yeah, that's a very good point. He's done very well. Shuffled out of the top 10 in the early part. I think he might have been an innocent bystander in all of what went on turn 1, turn 2. But he's fought back well. Still got that CPF to obviously complete. But he's going okay. Plenty of battles right throughout the field. Tzidakis giving Dan Yeaman a hard time. And Tzidakis with a less hamstrung car than Yeaman. But Yeaman doing well with circumstances against him, well and truly. A car that's obviously, it's been a handful this second part of the night. It was all right for him heat 1, but he's had his work cut out in heat 2, and the car looking very much worse for wear and as though it needs some TLC. But sometimes when you can adapt and just persevere with what you've got, you find a way around it, Dale, and I guess in Yeaman's case, it doesn't appear to be hampering his lap time terribly, but they are losing a substantial chunk of time to Will Buchanan, which is not necessarily a surprise because Buchanan is the benchmark of the series, maybe just the margin. But again, when you're working with what you got, it's a credit to Yeaman that he's been able to keep Tzidakis at bay for as long as he has, and also an illustration as to just how difficult it is to cleanly execute, as we see Ryan Jones come out right behind them here. So this is going to make life even more difficult for Yeaman, just how difficult it is to pass on this joint.
Yeah, exactly right. Like I said, Ryan Jones is going to come out with fresh rubber, and I don't think Yeaman really wanted to see that come right out behind him now with fresh rubber, especially like compromise. But I mean, he's out there, and you've got what you got. It's not the best. They're probably costing him at least a second a lap. So yeah, he's not going to be able to run Will Buchanan pace with that damage, but he's managed to battle well enough to keep Tzidakis behind him. Whether he can keep Ryan Jones as well, we're about to see in the next 3 laps.
Indeed we are. The only bit of work or business that we've got to take care of now is getting through to the checkered flag. So 4 laps ahead of us, just under 6 minutes. And thankfully, we should be actually, no, we'll be all right. We should be okay. I'm looking at the clock. I'm getting a little bit uncomfortable as to where that clock is compared to where we are lap time wise, but Will Buchanan's far enough into the 16th lap to ensure with just on 4 minutes on the clock that we will get to start the final lap. We're on lap 16 of 18, and we will get there quite comfortably actually in the end. We might do a smidgen of overtime, but we'll be right. I think I was caught out by the fact that it was still saying 15 there for the longest time. But no, Buchanan started lap 16 now, so we're good. We are good on time. 23.15. There'll be 2 laps to go at the line, at which point you're probably looking at about 2 minutes and 50 to 2 minutes and 55 seconds. So no, we are well and truly okay on time. I was just getting tripped up by trying to wrap my head around so many numbers in a short space of time. Here's Dan Yeaman still holding on to 3rd, which is remarkable in the grand scheme of things. Ryan Jones sits back there in position number 5. Alex Tzidakis in between. They've lost out to Adam Hayne and Will Buchanan. Lap traffic's going to make life even more difficult. Ryan Jones there.
Just gotten in between Ryan Jones and Tzidakis there, and he's lost a chunk of time to these 2 guys.
Indeed. So the final stages. What a night it's been. Full on night.
I think Ryan Jones has had a moment.
I think you're right. You're absolutely right. He's lost out to Andy Barber. So Jonesy's lost out to Andy Barber. This is how it happened. Did he get checked up by the lap car?
Very awkward.
Yeah. Oh dear. I feel for Jones. He's on track for a good result up until then.
I'll leave that one to race control. I mean, it's very hard being the lap car. You are trying to stay out the way, but yeah,
good luck,
very, very frustrating for Jonesy.
Absolutely. I mean, he was on track for a top 5. Now he's dropped behind Andy Barber. And Adam Hayne well ahead of Dan Yeaman, who's holding off Alex Tzicka still. Hello, Brooksy. You'd be mildly happy with what's going on here at the moment. James Scott, maybe not so, but Will Buchanan, absolutely. Through they go. Final lap about to start for Will Buchanan. And I cannot believe that's the man of the match performance from Dan Yeaman, keeping Alex Tzicka at bay for as long as he has with the hamstrung vehicle.
Yeah, definitely. There's the we don't need a vote for a top performer tonight. Daniel Yeaman sitting on the podium with a car that looks like it's been in a demolition derby. Definitely man of the match.
He's 2 seconds a lap slower than Hayne and Buchanan, right? And he's still managing to hold on to third. So, as I said earlier, it shows how difficult it is to overtake around here.
But because he's pushing.
Can he get it done? Can he get it done? Trouble! No, they're all good. They've got out of there cleanly. Tzicka is still hanging on the inside. Down the inside at the moment. He'll get it done this time, will he? Oh, yes, he will. Drag race down the main straight. Let's have a look and see. Can Yeaman get back down on the inside? You better believe he can. And Tzicka has to reset and go once more to turn one. He can't get it done. Yeaman's able to pull it up at one. He's checked up on the exit. Contact as they were bouncing off the wall. Tzicka's back down the outside. Yeaman to the inside. And still side by side we go.
Oh, this is great stuff. Yeaman's battled all race to try and keep this podium position, and he is not wanting to give it up now.
But never before has someone had to work so hard for a podium. Tzicka's with the big sun on the inside, still can't get through. Oh, this is extraordinary stuff. I'll get back to James Scott in a moment. We'll be able to show that to you, Brooksy. But Will Buchanan is about to do the double on the streets of Chicago as Yeaman and Tzicka fight it out for the final half a lap for the final spot of the podium in this, the first two-race sprint round of the season. Will Buchanan lights it up, takes the Mustang to victory lane and sweeps the night in Illinois. What about that? Adam Hayne, a very clear and comfortable second, and half a minute down the road. All eyes on Yeaman and Tzicka.
Could be one more challenge. Here he comes.
Oh, I mean, credit to Alex. He's left nothing on the table here. He's thrown everything at Yeaman. Yeaman's withstood the pressure, and they've avoided inevitable carnage. And it's Yeaman persevering to get third. It's just extraordinary that he's been able to hold on. I thought that was going to end in tears. They've avoided that reality. They've brought it home cleanly. The only question is how, because it looked as though it was all going to end in bloody tears, and it didn't. And Yeaman has withstood Alex Tzicka's onslaught of pressure. He threw everything at him. It was an absolute barrage. It was like watching the US go into Iran. And all of a sudden, Dan Yeaman gets a podium, and Alex Tzicka is ruining what might have been. But at least he won't be wearing a penalty, because there was no contact that was worthy of a review in race control. I mean, fair dinkum. Take your hat off to Dan Yeaman. The fact that he's been able to do that with a hamstrung vehicle, that is extraordinary. But I feel for Alex Tzicka, because, I mean, how many opportunities did he try to displace, unsettle, and rattle the cage of Yeaman, all to no avail. But that's experience for you, and Yeaman's got plenty of that.
So good racing, watching those two battle it out. Alex threw everything, including the kitchen sink, everything bar a front bumper bar at Yeaman, and yeah, that's just so good to watch. Those two, 110%. But you know, race control doesn't even have to adjudicate on any of it. Like, well done both those two. And Yeaman, he battled all race. We don't exactly know how the bumper bar come to be removed yet, but hopefully he'll come and let us know. But that was a very good performance to hold on to the podium spot.
Oh, I cannot believe, I just cannot believe the fact that Alex Tzicka, there's always going to be one end up unlucky in all of that. And I mean, obviously, had James Scott not tripped up on his own brakes, that's probably a battle for fourth instead of third. all the ifs, buts, and maybes aside, I'm just speechless, gobsmacked at the fact that Tsitsikas was not able to find a way through. He tried to invent as many opportunities as he possibly could in the time he had at his disposal, but again, he'll go back to the drawing board and he'll have to do a little bit of work on his aggressive racecraft, on his attacking racecraft, in order to come out on top of a battle like that somewhere down the track. We'll have a look at some highlights for you. Brooksy, stay with us because you will see that incident for James Scott there. About what lap did we say? About lap 6, I think it was. But yes, lap 6, Scotty down the inside at turn 1. That was part of what led Dan Yeaman to be so far down the road in the end. Again, we didn't see the second incident, but this was lap 1, the inevitable Chicago traffic jam and carnage. They got through the first bit not too bad. The second bit wasn't any better, and that's where it set off the chain reaction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars caught up in that, 3 of them on the tow rope, and that was all she wrote. However, seeing his way through all of that madness and insanity was Will Buchanan, who joins us here in Central Commentary, and the Revolution E-Racing stable mate. It started out so well, 1 and 2 in that first race, you and James Scott. Brooksy's wedged into the chat thread here. Hang on, all that fuel saving for nothing, says Ryan Jones.
Yeah, we feel for you, Jonesy. Unlucky, mate.
Ain't that the truth? He was very unlucky in the grand scheme of things, but I'm not going to elaborate on what that that acronym stands for when it's extended out into its full wording, ladies and gentlemen. You can just type that one into Google if you're not...
Force feedback settings. I think he's talking about force feedback settings.
Thank you. Very nicely done. I like it when we can get a G-rated term to explain something that's definitely not. Very well done. Ryan Jones, bad luck because he went so well in the BMW, and then put it in a very reasonably good position on the grid in the supercar, and then it all went to the proverbial. Oh well, it is what it is. We've got Jeff Adams here. We've got Will Buchanan here, and I want to start with you, Will, because your team leader, your team boss, was a little bit late to the party. He was a little bit surprised to see that James Scott wasn't out there taking you to task and holding everyone else to account. It's your night in Chicago. And it all comes back to the fact that you put it on pole position, you broke clear of the pack in race 1, and then, hang on, Revolution E-Racing, good save, force feedback, yeah, I like that. But then, race 2, the C's part, Scotty, as he's trying to get down on the inside of Yeaman, pinches a brake, ends up in the wall outside of turn 1. And at that point, you had 3 of them breathing down your neck, and that was the defining moment because the seats parted at that point and all the pressure was released for the balance of the race, mate. A nice double. Nice to have you here. You're back up the second last week with a clean sweep tonight. Well done.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Yeah, the seas parted a few times, thankfully, for me. Otherwise, it was going to be a bit harder to come through the field that second race. But, yeah, unlucky for James with locking up. I was hoping we're going to have a good little battle for that second race.
I was hoping so as well. It's really unfortunate for Scotty that happened. I mean, obviously, it didn't help Dan Yeaman out in any way, shape or form, but Dale Sharp has been calling the race with me, mate, and he said it's so easy to pinch a brake around here. There are so many trip-up points. You guys have really been kept on your toes, and the brain's had a fair workout just trying to go through the motions here.
Yeah, under brakes here is shocking. I did a few setup changes just before Ollie to fix up that issue. So, well, the car felt good. It felt looked up. Did struggle with the brakes at the end of the stints, but that'll just be the tyres were gone after bloody 4 laps or so.
And that just, I guess that's the one thing that doesn't just annoy me as an onlooker, but annoys everybody, doesn't it, Will? I mean, the fact that you've got 4 sweet laps, you got 4 good laps out of the thing, and then you're battling it for the balance of the stint. And it's not just any particular circuit or any given track conditions. It wouldn't matter if the track was cool. That would still be an issue that you're contending with. And it really, I don't like it, but obviously, you know, the more tyres you burn through, the bigger the check for Dunlop, etc. and so forth. But everyone's in the same boat. It would just be nicer to see a tyre with a little bit more longevity, just so that you weren't battling it for 3/4 of your stint.
Yeah, I agree. I wish it was more like real life, the way the tyres work. But oh well. I mean, it brings some variation in. I guess everyone is struggling on tyres, so people might go for the undercut or overcut, see what happens. So not complaining about that aspect of it.
Did well to avoid all the garbage at the start of race 2 there, mate. I mean, obviously that helped you progress through the field a little bit quicker than you otherwise might have. What was the plan of attack before the seas parted there, turn 1, turn 2, to get you up the field as quickly as you did, in terms of just trying to minimise any potential damage that would potentially come your way, given that it is A, an invert top 10, B, a sprint round night, C, a circuit in which carnage can and will ensue, and the championship is 10 weeks long. So what was the plan of attack in terms of just trying to consolidate as best you could? Obviously, this is the dream result, but you would have had a pass mark in mind that wasn't P1.
Yeah, I think obviously the plan in race 2 was just close my eyes and hopefully I come out of that corner exit all good. With all those incidents happening around me, and it was basically the main plan was just to look after the tyres, don't push the car too much, just drive it at like 90% and just hold that pace for as long as I can before the tyres finally fell off.
Indeed. Now, Dale, I'm sure you've got a couple of questions you'd like to slide the way of Will Buchanan, and I'll let everybody at home know that we've got Jeff Adams standing by, who we're looking forward to hearing from, and also Mr. The Front Fell Off Dan Yeaman, who is also in our youth section at the moment as well. Not the circuit to rock up to with no idea about pace and pushing on the fly. So we'll hear from him very shortly as well. The front fell off was a Clark and Door reference for anybody that was cottoning on very quickly, as Dale Sharp did. But yes, let's go to you, mate, because I'm sure you got a question or two to ask Will.
Yeah, Will, it was obviously nice. It was a bit of a role reversal from last week. We saw James drive off into the distance and you were left battling for the podium. So it must be good to rock up tonight and basically flip the script and get the lead and leave James battling for the podium spot. And unfortunately, very unlucky, and didn't work out for him. So it must be good to get that win and rock up tonight and get the brooms out.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see the pace came back the last few days racing elsewhere. Pace fully disappeared, so it was rewarding to see the pace come back tonight. And yeah, last week was kind of reverse. Like James had the great setup last week, and I think this week my setup was just a little bit more better. So yeah,
It just shows you there's not much in it. I mean, obviously you guys would practice a lot, and there's only tenths in it. So little setup changes like that, like you say, and can make the distance. But it was definitely interesting we had a lot of chaos in that race, too. So you did well to get through it and buddy way through and come out with the lead.
Yeah, I don't think any of my overtakes was one-on-one. I think it was two guys battling in front, and they'd get connected together, and I just sneak down the inside. I think that was the story of race 2.
I was going to say the other thing as well, mate. It's interesting to get your comments with regards to the tyre wear and other things with regards to the supercar, because one thing I've been noticing in the last few weeks, it might be this year as a whole, is that there are a few people that are starting to grow tired of the supercar as a whole, and they've gone and started applying their trade elsewhere, trying to find somewhere else in which to go racing, and with that they've also expanded their artillery in terms of learning a new car. Means you've got more than one feather in your cap, one bow in your pocket, And the other thing with that too is that we're seeing guys become more versatile as racers as a result of being able to master more than one car. Are you noticing that as well? I mean, obviously we're loving seeing what you're doing when you're getting the opportunity off the bench to go and have a steer in the Logitech Supercar series, and I'll ask you more about that in a moment. But are you noticing that there's a little bit of a shift at the moment, that there are some people that are starting to get sick of the wash, rinse, repeat of supercar racing, and they're starting to try and find somewhere else in which to get their amusement, get their entertainment, get their kicks out of sim racing?
Yeah, I definitely can see a lot of people getting a bit turned off by the supercar. I mean, I've had my little moments where I'm like, stuff this car and go do GT3 or GDP, something like that. I think it's more comes down to, well, the cars are so the same that it's hard to overtake in these cars, and it's to overtake it's a dive bomb or be dive bombed type racing in these cars. So I think that's what kind of people are getting sick of, is just the hard and tough racing that you have to do to be successful in this car.
Indeed. Speaking of the Pro Series as well, mate, I mean, obviously a great opportunity here to make a full run at the championship on Wednesday night Motorsport with the GSRC this term, because you guys are in enduro mode at the moment, which means you're planning for the longer races. You're running on Friday night or a Sunday afternoon when we get to Bathurst. So obviously there's a bigger gap between those rounds. There's more time for you guys to jump between the two series and obviously make a play for both championships. So how are you enjoying that juggle of going and running here in sprint mode on a Wednesday night, doing the enduros on a Friday night? Obviously, you must be, everyone's looking forward to Bathurst, but it's nice when there's no overlap and you've got a little bit of time to breathe between rounds, and you can also commit to two championships simultaneously.
Yeah, no, it's been good with the scheduling now. It wasn't too long ago where everything was happening at once. You had GSRC, Scops, and Logitech going on all really the same week. So been refreshing, just kind of spread everything out, that's for sure.
Thoughts on next week for us, which is... I'm so disappointed I'm not here. I'm off commentating Super Sprint Racing for the Porsche Pro Invitational, because we don't get them moved to Friday night. So we've got you guys at Phillip Island for 40 minutes. Now, that is a circuit that's in the news at the moment because, you know, those that take up fishing as a side hustle at the Cafe of Speed are asking about whether Phillip Island should just displace Sandown from the finals race in the schedule on the Supercars calendar next year. There's no certainty that there's going to be 14 events. They could be cut to 12 because of the politics and rubbish behind the scenes, but I'll leave all that to one side. Phillip Island is the track of choice next week. It's one of our absolute favourites. It never produces a dull show when we go there. How are you feeling about that? It's a circuit that's obviously already hosted a 500-kilometre enduro for the Logitech boys, so 40 minutes would be a cruise in the park, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah, well, done a ton of laps. James and I went well in Pro Series together there, so yeah, it should be copy and paste really. Hopefully it'll be a good fun battle between us two, and then hopefully there's some more like drop air and all that can show up and have a good old race out there.
I don't know how the rest of the boot's feeling about it, but round 7, the Qualcomm circuit in San Diego, I cannot wait for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Have you had a steer around there in the supercar yet?
I think I've done one lap. I think Snedo actually has been showing me how to do laps around there. He's quite the Qualcomm guru, telling me where all the bumps are and all that. So it's going to be tough. All those bumps are right in the braking zone, so I'll bet you any money there's going to be a ton of lockups and a lot of people getting T-boned.
Bumpy season when you think about it. I mean, you've got Chicago, you've got Sebring, the home of bumps. You've got Adelaide, yep, bumpy. San Diego, bumpy. You've got Long Beach, street circuit, bumpy. The season of bumps, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride.
Quickly, when does the preparation start for the 1,000, mate? Because obviously, here we are. We're 3.5 weeks away from it, so we'll get through Sebring, Adelaide, and also Phillip Island before that. It'll happen between the Adelaide circuit sprint round and also the Qualcomm sprint, the Qualcomm 40-minute race as well. That's scheduled for August 19. How are you feeling about what you'll bring to the table over 6 hours on August 16?
Yeah, definitely out for redemption. Performance at Sandown wasn't too good last week, so just going to go home up to Townsville this weekend, have a full reset with the family, and then by the start of next week, I'm going to start pumping out the Bathurst practice and get fully locked in, and hopefully James and I can have a good performance out there.
An escape to North Queensland at this time of the year. Lucky you. I'm going to the harbour city in Sydney, so it'll be a little bit chillier down there, and there's no reset involved. It's just work. So we're both on planes at some point this weekend, but I'm sure you'll enjoy the travels, mate. The season's looking pretty good for you. Obviously, you missed the opening round, but you've bounced back beautifully, a second and 2 firsts since then. We can't wait to see what you put together as far as the rest of the season's concerned, and hopefully Scotty bounces back as well. You can tell how difficult these cars are, and this circuit is, when one of the benchmarks of the caper gets tripped up and caught out by it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, not much more else to say. Just hopefully I can actually give a good run for this championship for once. Been here for a few seasons now doing GSRC and fall short a couple of times, so hopefully I can give it a good crack.
And some interesting times as well for the Revolution E-Racing stable as well, mate. We spoke to Brooksy about it off air the other night. He's talking about, obviously, the Shield Coat side of the stable and the AITX side of the stable, but you're all mates at the end of the day, which is good. Bigger picture in mind, which is why, I mean, we've got you on one side, Scotty on the other, but there would have been an opportunity had everything gone to plan tonight for you two to work together. But it's an exciting time to be a part of that framework there at RER, isn't it?
Yeah, the team is on the up, so especially with Shield Coat and AITX, sorry. Both jumping on board as full-time sponsors, so yeah, getting new guys in, different categories of cars now, a bunch of guys in GT3, we got guys doing sprint cars, stadium trucks, NASCAR, Formula cars. Like, the team's looking very good for the future.
Indeed they are. Hey, terrific to catch up with you tonight, mate. Thanks for jumping on in to have a chat to me and Dale, and we hope it all goes well for the balance of the campaign. We hope this reset this weekend is exactly what you're chasing as well. Enjoy the trip up there. Enjoy the family time. We probably, at this point in our lives, don't ever... we don't take it for granted, but we don't get enough of it at the same time, so it's a catch-22. But well done tonight. Brilliant performance. Just continuing your slow rise through the ranks as the season goes on. You've and I mean the calendar year as a whole. We've been... lucky enough to be able to sit here and watch your slow climb up to the top of the leaderboard in the supercars in the recent past, mate. We're enjoying it, and we look forward to seeing much more of that as the season goes on. Hopefully, as you say, this is the term in which you sign on the dotted line and secure the title and sit on the top step of the summit. Go well for the week, and we'll look forward to seeing you on track at Phillip Island next Wednesday night.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Is there anyone you'd like to thank before I let you go?
Oh yes, or Brooksy will shoot me. Obviously to all the RER boys, all the support from them is unreal. And then also from our sponsors, AITX, Shield Coat, Sudspeed, Kibby, IR Sidekick, and Ladies Crossworks. All the support behind the scenes they do is unreal, and we can't thank them enough.
And just to clear that up very swiftly as well, he's not talking about American street style either. He's more talking paintball. But that's another story. Thank you, Will. Well done, mate.
Too easy, guys. See ya.
People so quickly take things so literally. You'd have all the activist groups up in arms. Oh, you can't go around shooting people. No, we're literally taking the piss. Righto, let's throw it around the room here. I can't wait to hear from Dan Yeaman in a moment. We've got Jeff Adams standing by and also Jordan Pianazzola, who I'll get to very soon too, because he had a very strong result in the second race in the Dev split, and he climbed back through the field nicely in race one, so chased his tail all night long and chased it well. Hello, Jeff Adams. Good evening to you. Interesting night because we saw you and the Subpar boys in the thick of it at Ride America in the BMWs, and then obviously just traffic and walls to avoid here on the streets of Chicago. Talk us through it from your standpoint, please, mate.
Yeah, well, the BMWs, that second race, I was just trying to give my teammate some space, and I forgot I was driving a left-hand driven car. And I didn't give myself enough room, so there was a terrible mistake on my behalf. But yeah, we were doing quite well in the BMWs as a whole, as a subpar team. But as we know, we're in the developers series for the V8s, and I think even though I think subpar still had a fairly strong result, considering that Richard is still learning this car, as am I. But Richard really is learning this car. He's never really driven it at all, and he's never really gotten along with it. So he's doing a lot better than I've expected. Like, even himself, he's even quite chuffed and in his performances, and so he should be.
I just realised too, I had a message slide in internally to my inbox. Our producer director throwing some shade at me because I was struggling to come up with the right analogy with regards to bows and arrows earlier with Will Buchanan. Thank you, Neely. Appreciate that.
No, that's right. It's a string in the bow, not a bow in the pocket.
Thank you. I just could not wrap my words around my tongue there a few moments ago, and I appreciate you coming to my rescue. Feel free to do that on air next time, because yes, I am struggling as I get older to get a good grasp of the English language, it would seem, and just brain freeze after brain freeze, and I don't know whether to be concerned about that with a view to maybe dementia later in life or not. Now, where was I? I was talking to Jeff Adams. That's right. It's interesting to hear you say that too, because it can be challenging sometimes, because we're so used to right-hand drive cars, that it can be really off-putting when you go and jump behind the wheel of a left-hand drive. I mean, obviously, we're probably more synonymous with that with regards to, I'm going to say GT3, but the BMW, that's very different to the supercar in that regard.
Yeah, you really got to adjust yourself to it. Not to mention, a difference of maybe 500 horsepower. But there's always, especially with these tight courses and tight street circuits with the V8s, you really got to be careful. But and being a predominantly right-hand track I don't know. Actually, would it be a predominantly? 50-50. It's pretty much. Yeah. Well, Road America being a right-hand track. Yeah. Yeah. But you've got to make sure you understand the width of your car, and that's a pretty basic thing you need to get on top of. But with the V8s, being a right-hand drive car, you got to readjust again, and jumping into street circuits, it's always that challenge that you need to work out, and not to mention, we brought up before, just the differences in the cars and going from one to the other, and then having to be able to get up on pace and readjust your braking markers and your brain, and how much pedal you can actually push down in these things.
The other thing as well, with regards to all of that, without knowing for certain, I think it's just in favour of right-hand corners at Road America. Certainly the long corners are. It's one of those things, isn't it? Everyone's in the same boat, though. They've got to wrap their head around that as quickly as they can. They are a challenge, those BMWs, and particularly for those of you that are doing the double on a Wednesday night, mate, to jump out of that with not as much poke into the supercar, go to the opposite side of the cockpit, go to the right-hand side, and then go from somewhere with a little bit of room to work with and runoff area to Concrete Canyon. That was a mentally challenging double-header tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I was quite exhausted and quite happy to be finished over the checkered line. It was both of us, Richard and I, were both pretty pretty beat up after that. And this track doesn't really give you much time to rest either. The straights aren't really straight. And so and the corners when you first come here and you're in your cockpit and you come up to some of these corners, it doesn't even look like there's a corner there. It looks like you're coming to a brick wall, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. So, but I think I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen the broadcast of what happened in the race, but I'm sure it actually produced some pretty good racing. Am I wrong?
Both races were good tonight. Both Road America and the streets of Chicago. Obviously, Chicago, once the incident happened there in the early part of race 2, everything fanned out somewhat. But, we weren't disappointed. I know Sharpie's enjoyed what he's watched tonight as well. And on that subject, I'm sure you've got a couple of questions for Jeff Adams while he's here. If Sharpie's in the house still, there he is.
Yeah. I'm still here.
I was hoping I wasn't putting you or anybody else to sleep, Sharpie.
No. Credit to Adam, Jeff Adams, for sticking with the supercar, because I think you highlighted what my problem was when we get out of the support category and in the supercar. It is definitely a big adjustment, and I'm always probably going to be of the minority that likes driving the BMW, but yeah, and your teammate Richard, he said he's only just starting to learn it, and it's a hell of a beast to try and start learning. So credit to you, you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been it was a good race with Jordan Pinazola. I think was he did really well in the developers split. So I was quite, I tried to keep up with him, and he just came out in front, and I just couldn't keep up with him close enough. And you only have to make the minorest of mistakes for and your competitor to really just fall away on little things. But yeah, the first race I think I got him, but in the second race, he had my number. So yeah, well done to Jordan on that one.
Yeah, we noted Jordan's run as well. He did very well. He just quietly snuck his way up there, and and like you say, you're on the limit. You're trying to gain some time, and it just takes hitting a little bump and a little lock up, and you've lost half a second, and then you gain a little bit, and then it's rinse, lather, and repeat, isn't it?
Yeah, you can. It can definitely snowball with the tyre lockups around tracks like this. It definitely teaches you some patience with the brake and the throttle, and the tyre heat can run away on you, especially on a hot track like it was tonight with the 40 to 50 degree heat on the track temp. So it was definitely something. All these type of challenges, they're great, because when the track's 20 degrees, you feel like you're on rails. So it's definitely it's good fun to learn. I've definitely got some learning to do though. Like, I'm well off the pace of the top guys, but again, like, I don't exactly dedicate my whole life to it, so it is a bit of a balancing act, and I think I'm sitting in a comfortable position in sense.
Let me get your thoughts on a couple of things here. So firstly, let's start with Chicago and finish this one off, because race 2 obviously had the compulsory pit stop, mate. Last time we came here with these cars, it was a super sprint, so it was 3 races, only 2 tonight. But I think given that we had the intensity of 2 races around Road America and the Bimmers before that, 2 was more than enough, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I said, I was pretty beat up. I was pretty flogged after that, after those 2 races, and physically and mentally, both. I tense up around tracks like this. I know you shouldn't, but my shoulders and all my upper body and my neck is all sore from trying not to, and my teeth as well, grit my teeth. When you're getting around corners and you get it real close, and you get real close to those walls. Sometimes you think, oh, I nearly got it, and then you're spending the rest of the time recovering. But you don't have any time to rest. So yeah, I was pretty flogged after those races. I'm glad it was a good format. I thought it was good, but yeah, I've had enough of that.
That's fair.
You raise a good point that if you're going well and you're in a groove, like, you don't like with the 4 seatback wheels and that, you don't experience a lot of fatigue. But when you're in the tight battles and you're battling in the start, you don't realise how much you start fighting the wheel, and you start fighting the 4 seatback, you know, which only ends up working against you. But there's little traps we always get stuck in.
Yeah, that's one of those little things, right? You've got to drive relaxed. You know, you've got to. I was always told when you're driving, you know, squeeze the wheel as much as you would squeeze a budgie, and stop it from running away, flying away from you, so you're not strangling the wheel. But and you know, you keep your shoulders loose, and that it all helps, you know. But you can't do like a race around here and be as tense as I was. It's definitely a learning curve that I need to work on as a racer as a whole, I think. And you know, these when you're driving cars that you're not comfortable in, it's a thing you need to be conscious of. So, and I think most people, you know, when they're comfortable in a car, you can tend to relax a little bit more, which then again gives you even more pace. So yeah, it's one of those things you just got to slowly and you know, and just chip away at these little things and get better as you go over time.
It is definitely a tough skill, you know, like, because you know all the logic to relax and, you know, and feel the wheel, but that all works until you've got someone in your mirror or you've got someone on your nose, and then you're, you know, you're up on that wheel and you're fighting for position. So it's definitely a skill, and it's definitely hard to learn. It's like the old analogy of, you know, if you're getting attacked by a dog, to just relax. It's like, yeah, well, it's all well and good when you've got a supercar in your mirror to say, hey, just relax.
Yeah, that's all it is. At the end of the day, you've got to slowly just chip away at those little things.
You've just prompted me of something that's gone on in the last 24 to 48 hours, Sharpie, that I want to come back to in just a few moments' time. But I'll finish with Jeff Adams before we get to Dan Yeaman and Jordan Pianozola first. Jeff, next week, Phillip Island for the Supercars and Spa for the BMWs, I should say. So the BMWs, that's going to be a bloody long lap around there, over 7 kilometres, so a longer lap again, time as well as distance-wise, compared to tonight at Road America. Thoughts on that firstly? And it's only a 40-minute race there as opposed to the sprint format we had tonight. And then we go 40-minute racing as well from Phillip Island in the Supercar. So a single race doubleheader next week, and it'll be 2 of our favourites, but totally different playing fields, all the same.
Yeah, the BMW, I'm not sure that car track combo, how that's going to go. I'm not, yeah, like you said, it's going to be a long lap. It's going to be a low, even with 40 minutes, it's going to be a low lap count in regards to what most cars that are driven, you know, like the GT3s and whatnot. So it's going to be a towed procession as well, you know, like especially like for most Spa races. But as for Phillip Island, the V8 Supercars, it's almost, you know, it's their breeding ground, right? So Phillip Island and the V8 Supercars go well together, I've always thought, and it's definitely it's going to be a good, you know, like you said, good double header 40-minute racing. But again, I'm probably going to be just as flogged as I was after this race.
And I apologise on that note too, because I got caught out by my own calculations there earlier in the night, ladies and gentlemen, because on Monday night we have a 30-minute feature if it's a one-race program format for Formula Rd-3.5. Of course, on Wednesdays it's 40. And I was when I was talking to Greg Heaney, he was reckoning that the lap time around Spa would be about 3 minutes, and I immediately jumped on that and said, oh, that'll be about 10 or 11 laps then, Greg. But obviously it's going to be a lot higher than that, because we've got an extra 10 minutes at our disposal. I just realised that I made that little blue just as Jeff was talking about the 40-minute length of that race there. Hey, great to catch up with you, mate. Well done. Any parting comments on the efforts of the rest of the team tonight? Because there was a bag of mixed fortunes, I believe.
Yeah, just like to congratulate all the team, all the subpar boys for at least turning up and doing their best. You know, it's been a good night. And congratulations again to Jordan for the second race. We had a good battle even in the first race, so it was good run to the line. And thanks everybody for your your time and effort that you put into this thing. I know it's not as easy as some make it look. You know, a lot of pedaling underneath the water going on.
Yes.
Andrew Neal running in the background there. He's a professional by now. So
I don't know
he
about
knows
that.
what he's.
The wrong track names for the BMW come up.
You're definitely getting better every week. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and thanks for everything. Thanks, Dale. Thanks, Phil.
Well done, Jeff. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Love your work as always, mate. Thank you. Good luck for the rest of the week.
You too. Bye.
He mentioned something there, and again, I'm not going to try and put the analogies together because, as you already know by now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm making a right raw bloody mess of those tonight. He mentioned the key word that he mentioned there earlier was dog, and I cannot believe, right, for the life of me, the pile-on that Barnaby's copped this week just for telling his dog to sit down. I mean, the highbrow of society have come out this week and tried to take moral high ground. They cannot tell me they haven't at once in their life told either a child or a dog to sit down or, worse, F off at one point or another in their life. That did it for me. I was just like anything to have a whinge and put the pile on somebody. And it was something as little as that. Like if you've got, and I know full well because I work within the house here, and sometimes I'll be pre-recording something during the day. And don't get me wrong, love the dog that we've got here. It's part of the furniture now, and she loves it when I bring scraps home from the pub or whatever else. Or have a T-bone steak and give her the bone, whatever the case may be. But the pile-on that you cop just for telling a dog to pipe down. You've got to get its attention somehow, right? If it's going off on a tangent, you've got to get its attention somehow. But I will often, because I'm downstairs and it's usually upstairs, if I hear it barking at a change of wind or nothing, I'll often try and get its attention through the floorboards. Shut up. How else are you meant to get their attention? I feel for Barnaby because that is just gross overreaction from everybody that's decided to try and take him to the cleaners this week. Go and live with dogs that bark at thin air and wind for a week and tell me you wouldn't do the same, ladies and gentlemen. Fair dinkum. What a pile-on.
Dog world, isn't it? It's all the games, use whatever you can, and that's all they had.
Even then, it wouldn't have even been that, Dale. It would have just been any excuse to, try and look as though you're an upstanding citizen of society. Unbelievable. What an absolute stitch up. But I'm sure someone will throw some shade on me because, I tell our dog to be quiet from time to time. Well, are you going to sit there when you're trying to pre-record or put audio work together and put up with hearing the dog through the earpiece, or risk the dog's barking going through the microphone as you're trying to have a conversation? I don't think so. Unbelievable. Where was I? Let's bring in Daniel Yeaman and Jordan Pianozola at this point in time. So the front did fall off, Dan Yeaman. We haven't seen that second incident yet. We've only seen the first one. But then you've gone to pit lane and grabbed a fast repair and set yourself up for the rest of the race. And then the next time we saw you, the front is gone and you're running hamstrung for the balance of the night. We'll talk about how good that was, that effort was, in just a moment. But maybe dob yourself in and tell us where the second incident may well have been if we didn't already see it. In fact, I think Andrew Neal might have just queued it up. Here it is.
That one it's late on in the race. No, unfortunately, I took the front off the car by myself at turn 1 on about lap 10 or so.
Okay.
One of the explorations into, I've got fresh tyres and a fresh car, let me push on a bit, and proceeded to push on a bit too fast over the bumps under brakes, and not braking hard enough. So we gave the concrete there a good old whack, and gave myself a bit of a headache to deal with, and give Alex a fair crack at that spot for the final podium place.
Yeah, indeed. the pressure you were under before the incident with James Scott, and we know how innocent that was. You had absolutely nowhere to go when he's pitched the brake, and the steering's just not wanting to go left or right for him. It's just going straight on, and you're getting cleaned up like a 10-pin bowling pin on the way through. But the effort after that, yes, you were able to defend as well as you did for as long as you did because you're well versed in racecraft, right? But as soon as the floodgates opened, that was it. Scotty saw himself out. Buchanan departed and took off into the sunset. And then all of a sudden, you're left to contend with Alex Tzidakis. I'm not sure he could have thrown any more at you than what he did. Extraordinary with a hamstrung car to be able to limp it home the way that you did. You were 2 seconds off the pace. Even more extraordinary, the fact that he was not able to find a way through past you. A, testament to your racecraft, but B, also illustrating how difficult it can be to execute an overtake and consolidate it around here.
Yeah, nasty little track, this one. And just a couple of things that, like, yeah, we got to that part of the race and, yeah, just had to really back up all my corner entries. And then the piece of results, well, the reason I think I was able to hang on against Alex, I could hear he was holding third gear through all the slower turns. And when he had a couple of fair cracks at me there, that just meant that me choosing to use second gear in a couple of spots just gave me the drive out of turn so to protect the place. And so whilst we were down on straight line speed, if we were on a head-to-head duel like we did there on the penultimate lap, actually the final lap of the race even it was, yeah, just the better committing to the lower gear, and the better drive off the turn. Got the job done for me, it seems, compared to what Alex was willing to throw at me.
I was going to say, it's a nice cameo appearance from you because we haven't seen much of you this term. Work has obviously been the priority, and hard to be in two places at once when you've been knocking off at 11:30 p.m. or even in the AMs at work of late. So it must be nice to be able to get in the saddle and have a steer of something, albeit on a sporadic and partial basis.
Yeah, I had hoped I might be able to show up again early on a Monday night, but that hasn't really worked out for me so far. With other things going on, yes, as well as Friday nights too, but that also has been hamstrung. There's the one there. There's the incident.
That's the one that we didn't see. Yeah.
That's what, as you can see, threatens to knock the front off and then give it the run up to turn 3 here, and the front will fall off properly. So yeah, that's how I did myself in for some trouble. Yeah, there we go. Good luck.
It is. We just haven't got to the point now where, because we didn't see that on circuit for the rest of the night. So we've seen it on replay where it falls off. But I'd actually love if the next update in the iRacing universe actually leaves the debris there for everybody to see, so that we can be like, okay, oh crap, something's happened. What have we missed?
Sometimes it hangs around, sometimes it doesn't. You kind of end up rolling the dice, unfortunately, with those kinds of things.
Just how much more difficult did that make it for you to steer around? I mean, we've already had Will Buchanan's comments with regards to running on, absolutely rooted tyres. After 4 laps out of the stint, you get 4 good laps out of them, and then good luck to you for the rest of your stint. But how much more difficult does it make it when you've sustained some damage? You haven't got the leverage or luxury of being able to go back down pit lane because it puts you totally out of the race if you do. How difficult was it to persevere with the damage you did sustain, though?
Yeah, a little rough there. It takes away quite a good chunk of medium to higher speed turning, which, whilst there isn't a ton of that here at Chicago, getting up into turns 4 and 5 for that first fast entry, and then also that final section through the fountain bit. I'm trying to keep it tight over the crest whilst also managing the bumps. The car is a little non-compliant with the front removed like this, so there was that sort of challenge, and it also does hurt the straight line speed. So on a couple of times, Alex with a good run off turn 2, and as we saw at the end of the race, is able to get up to me and probably fight for the spot. But then I'm doing stuff like, even there, just trying to drive the car in hot and maintain the position. I got lucky there. I think on that occasion that Alex was perhaps a little too bumper fixated to and stuck with me there into the fence on that particular occasion, because I think that also evened things out perhaps a tiny bit between us and gave me a bit more of a half chance.
Indeed. Let's talk about the rest of it here, mate. I mean, obviously, when you are only jumping behind the wheel of these things every pancake day, just how much more difficult does it make it to get into the groove and rhythm? Because, I mean, take nothing away from you. We know how versatile you are and how adaptable you can be. But when you're not getting regular mileage like the Will Buchanans of the world, how much more difficult does that make the assignment?
Look, it's pretty rough. These are the kinds of cars that you're going to really tell who's driving it on the regular versus who isn't. And despite the fact that I'm not driving on the regular, we have committed to seeing me in a V8 Pro co-driver position for this year, and we're
yes.
2/3 of the way through. Mind that, in saying that, both races of that campaign, the front has been damaged through events seemingly out of my hands, which has sort of hampered the ability to demonstrate what I can do amongst the co-drivers of that field this year. But at the same time, yeah, like as a team, we're getting some practice done before the races to try and build ourselves a decent car. But I'm still not really racing the thing on the regular like those who are racing in those V8 championships, peer or otherwise, are often doing. So there's still a lot of just learned habits that I don't have, or things that I actually have to try and unlearn from other cars that I've picked up on the service that don't translate well across this thing. Particularly throttle application is one where you just have to always remind myself to be measured on the throttle. And it's even little things like right foot braking this thing, using my clutch pedal, the heel toe, the downshifts, and play around with stuff like that to try and get the most out of the car.
Dale, I'm sure you got a question or two for Dan Yeaman. I mean, I'm still completely and utterly taken away by how good that scrap was and how well the defence was to keep Alex Tzigis at bay and to secure the podium in the feature race.
Yeah, I'm glad that I was in the commentary booth for this one and not out there battling other drivers and the concrete. But Daniel, we both Zach and I, we both gave you the man of the match, the top performer for tonight. Because Alex threw absolutely everything at you in those last few laps, and it was quite amazing to watch a battle like that and not see both of you or either of you end up in the fence. So, what was it like in those last few laps when he's just going at you every corner, and you're both coming out the corner, and you continue on?
I mean, look, if I had the car underneath me, I would have been might have been a bit risky, but having the damage already well sustained by this point, it was just a matter of I had to protect the position by backing up every corner entry and drive everything a little slower than I would like to make sure the exits were strong and momentum was maintained, because a couple of times there's spots where I had more damage and Alex get a good run, but yeah, just a couple of these slower corners, I could hear he was staying in third gear. I was able to get better drive out in second gear, and that just gave me the protection down the straightaway segments, and as long as I made sure to hit my marks, that was all I could do, and thankfully that was enough tonight in at least this second race. Unfortunately, I can't say the same about race one, where I thought I was all good, but just didn't hit the brakes hard enough for turn 5, so apologies to Ryan Nielsen for bowling over his nose and doing what James Scott ended up more or less doing up my inside in race 2.
Well, that's interesting because, yeah, I was still trying to piece it together. We didn't actually get a replay of that incident, I don't think, with Nielsen. I was trying to work out exactly which All That Drop Their Motorsport entry it was, because at the same time, the only two names that were plummeting down the leaderboard were his and Sammy Collins. And I was like, it's not Sammy. We later found out, of course, that Sam had sustained, succumbed to packet loss, unfortunately. So that was the reason for his early and abrupt exit. So that now makes a lot more sense. You've tidied up a couple of loose ends for us, Dan, which I appreciate. I was going to say, work's obviously keeping you too busy to the point where we haven't seen you in the booth yet this season, except for, post-race capacity now. But how much are you looking forward to the challenge of 6 hours, Mount Panorama, the 1,000 in 3 weeks' time in the Logitech, please?
Well, I guess on one hand, try and get a solid result from a co-driver Lachlan Capel. and hopefully have a car that stays together. There we go. We've found the incriminating incident from race 1.
Here it is. Yes.
Yeah, just honestly, I thought I was braking fine, but I get up behind him, and all of a sudden I'm not stopping at the same pace. And rather than jam on the anchors, I was still worrying about downshifts and trying to use the engine to brake it. And yeah, just absolutely careening up the inside of Ryan. He's already turned into that point, so I can't turn my car when that happens. And yeah, unfortunately, I've put us both at the fence, and I get away with a low front bumper, sure, but I'm able to keep driving. Whereas unfortunately, a bit of a klutzy one there to put him in the fence of no fault of his own. So said the apology in session. Apparently, he was willing to acknowledge that one, but yeah, hopefully next time I'm on track, we can avoid any situations like that there.
Is there any point in actually asking you about when the next time on track might be on the GSRC platforms, or is that to be very much confirmed depending upon your real-world obligations?
It's very much, unfortunately, a roll of the dice, but at this stage, should everything hold together, there's an opening this Friday night that I'd potentially like to take advantage of, so we'll hopefully have that.
IndyCar at Barber would have your name all over it, wouldn't it?
I would like to get out there and drive the car. It'd be been a while since I've touched it, given we now have ERS and push to pass and all kinds of reconfigs there to potentially get interested by. So if that happens, that'd be great. Also, maybe even a bit of the warm-up act with the GT1s. I happen to own the Aston Martin, bit of a one-off lark from ages ago, so I could happily slot into that server, time permitting as well. So some options there that would be nice to explore, but we'll wait and see if things go as planned. Indeed, with work on Friday beforehand.
All right, very, very nicely done. We very much look forward to seeing you out there on circuit on Friday night. If all goes to plan, mate, if all falls into place, we know how competitive the IndyCar series has been so far this season. You'll only be in addition to that, which is becoming more and more difficult to pick week in, week out, except at the front of the field. Ethan Morris is cleaning up at the moment. We'll see if he can do the same on a circuit in the same way that he has on an oval and also on a street course so far. You'll see that Friday night live in all markets around Australia, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, race start 8:45. And if Joe Baldwin is in a position to bring you the entree, he will certainly do so with me from 7:25 Eastern. But that'll be a short, sharp and snappy post-race show, I'd imagine, boys, because there's a 4 o'clock alarm at my end on Saturday morning to get to the airport to get to Sydney. So it'll be a tight turnaround, but one that we're looking forward to. Hey, last one from you for the moment, Dan. I guess the interesting thing here is we're hearing a lot of mixed comments with regards to Supercars, tyre wear, the difficulty and all that sort of stuff. Surely there's got to be something... a line in the sand moment where we get some sort of reinvigorated interest in this caper, because there has been a little bit of a drop-off, but at the end of the day, everybody's in the same boat. It remains the pinnacle of Australian motorsport within the iRacing universe, not just externally. So if they're going to, if you're going to be competitive at the upper echelons of iRacing in this country, you've got to find a way to fall back in love with the supercar in its current guise until such time there's changes are on the horizon. Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that is correct. If your ambition is to race in the top flight leagues that are running here in the country, this is the cars to be learning it in. I think part of the issues that I hear with this stuff is it's not just I guess the car, yes, is forcing a way of driving in that it's no holds barred. If you give an inch, you're likely to be taken for a mile. Is the racing that basically eventuates, because we're seeing uber tight margins where drivers are having to find every last little setup trick and every perfect bit of execution to be able to get the advantage in our top flight leagues here in this part of the world. So, it's a case of, I think there's frustrations there car derived, but not necessarily entirely car relevant. There's a bit of a conversation there that also needs to be had about how drivers are going about their racing, and what that results in as a package on track when you've got other people around you, and whether it's a case of somehow instituting a rather significant cultural shift, or that can come from a significant car change and enhancement. It's hard to say, given that I'm trying to run one of those two pillars of V8 League racing when it comes to claiming a major marquee in V8 Scops. So, yeah, I'm trying to run something that people apparently want, but at the same time be also cognizant of all the things that that people aren't particularly enjoying, and trying to adapt and acknowledge those concerns.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how that all eventuates and develops with each passing season. Hey, just quickly, one thing I probably didn't touch on enough was that bit of contact with the wall right there. That's number one. But we saw that live. But number two, just when Alex started, looking to stamp and sending it and throwing everything at you, just how close did you two come to actually having it all end horribly in tears?
I think the one that would have really gone so as well as that one we just watched about half a lap ago, where he got a little close to me at turn one, and I had to sort of just drive it in deep to avoid the being properly whacked up the bumper. I think the other one was really at the very last lap of the race, where Alex had a fair crack. I think, this is the one here. Yeah,
he had a fair crack.
Yeah, just driving a bit deep to make sure I didn't get hit. And the last was the last lap where Alex tried to stick it back in up through turns 4 and 5. And I just committed to making the turning, because I was hoping, and as what did happen, Alex wasn't there, so he didn't get underneath my right rear corner, which meant I was able to sort of park him up on the inside and get the drive away to protect the position. But if I'd been a little bit more off with my reading of where Alex was positioned in my mirror, he easily could have gotten my right rear, and at the very least I would have gone around, or possibly even both of us.
All right, very nicely done, mate. Great to have you in the booth for, I think it's the first time I've caught up with you, at least this term. I'm not sure if you were here last week to see the boys, but terrific to have you back in the house and having a chat with us. We very much look forward to doing so on a semi-regular basis, as we know, and we've already detailed why throughout the course of the campaign, but always good to see you out there. Particularly pleasing to see you be able to limp the hamstrung car home and do so quite well, fighting vigorously for third place. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully in IndyCar on Friday night. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, 100%. Of course, to the rest of the boys back at the team at Logitech Geo DBM. We disappointed that I only saw Tyson Board try and throw a bit of a Hail Mary in the chat during the interview. The boys know better than that. They should be throwing me a couple of proper ones there, but apparently they don't save them for the team Discord, it seems.
Yes.
And yeah, to the team partners, Logitech G, I Live Reason Revolution Race Gear as our primary partners, along with Encoast Engineering Solutions, Sam Blackrock Media, Hybrid Racing Simulations, and also acknowledging the Fight Colorectal Cancer campaign stateside. And then thanks to the club for putting on the racing once again, and for allowing someone like me to drop in and, well, in this case, make a bit of a hash of things tonight, mostly for myself, but also for Ryan in race 1, and tripping up with James in race 2, not ideal. So I'll get the slaps on the wrists I deserve for at least race 1, and fingers crossed if we do get a chance to drive again, we can keep a cleaner pair of heels about it.
Absolutely. Hey, I must say, I'm surprised the shade we only started getting thrown in the post-race show. And
well, they like saving it for the post-race. That's the answer.
Yeah. And if you were here last week rather than this week, Brody would have been throwing that shade from the central commentary position, I understand, because he was in here in my place with Jordan and also with Dale. So probably a better outcome for you that it's this week, not last week.
Better outcome, perhaps, but at the same time, we like to all give as good as we can get. So,
absolutely,
it all works. It all balances out roughly even at the end of the day.
Yeah. Indeed, very nice. Go for it, Dan.
I think Daniel's just explained the dynamic in just about every team. While we're here singing his praises for resting the car to the third. You know, the teams throwing bombs and throwing shade.
Absolutely. We would be nothing without our sledging and banter, and it's usually all friendly fire, which is the main thing. Unlike, as I said earlier, before we introduced Daniel, that pile under Barnaby Joyce in the last couple of days. Go well, Mr. Yeoman. Good to have you in here, mate. Thank you for that, and look forward to catching up as the season progresses.
Cheers, Zach. Cheers, Dale. Good to chat to you both, and yeah, hopefully be able to do some more racing and get results good enough to be worth a chat afterwards as well.
Absolutely. There he is, Dan Yeoman, and hopefully at some point the schedule allows for him to be back here in the booth as well, because he's a valuable asset to our broadcast artillery as well, is Dan Yeoman. Thank you, mate. He couldn't get out of here quick enough. Before I'd even finished the comment, he was gone, checked out, and done for the night. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And by the way, just to tidy up something there that I made a mess of earlier on too. I don't know. We were talking earlier about Barnaby telling his dog to sit down. It can be very, like, if you are in the zone and wired and switched on, it can be very off-putting, it can be very unsettling, distracting, and all those other things, and brings you undone very quickly as soon as you've got a barking dog in the vicinity that is obviously triggering something in the way of your attention when you're trying to focus on other things. I know people that can do it, but anyway. And on the subject of focusing on other things as well, can I just say, I was going to say this earlier, but I thought I'd wait until we had our after-hours audience in the house. Dale was talking earlier about joining the committee and how eye-opening an experience it is. I'm still going to wager that keeping the cohort of Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club members happy, you could throw the same amount of girls into the cohort as what you have men, and it'd be a far tougher assignment to keep them happy, Dale. In fact, you could probably shave it by 25 or 50%, and it'd still be more difficult. But I don't envy you blokes, because keeping this lot happy is not an easy task either at times. But I would still argue that it's easier than keeping our female companions happy in a similar way. So yes, you got to you choose your battles wisely, I guess. Speaking of choosing battles wisely, look at this bloke, from commentator to racer, from the back of the slums of the grid in race 1, worked his way through the field, and in race 2, ladies and gentlemen, found his way to the top step of the summit in the Dev Split. And at what point are they going to start lobbying for you, Jordan Pianazzola, to be bumped up into the elite, so to speak? Well done on that. It looked like fun out there. I mean, obviously a couple of seas parting moments, and you're able to benefit greatly from the misfortune of some of the others around you as they've come unstuck or had their own separate incidents. You've been able to work your way through. Tough old slog around the Chicago street circuit, though, so I'm reliably informed that you're quite chuffed and happy with yourself with regards to how the race 2 result has fallen into place, but also set up nicely through climbing through the field as well as you did in race 1, mate, and cleanly too, which a lot of people can't say the same for their night. A night of attrition, a night of carnage, a night of wall scraping, but you've managed to keep a clean set of hills. Well done.
Yes, thank you again. But also good evening again to you for the second time tonight, Zach. But
nice to be with you the second time tonight too.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, it was great racing. I mean, I've said this before. I absolutely suck at qualifying. I mean, I did, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour of just some lapping, some practice today to just get my eye in, and just because I know it's a street course. Walls are your biggest enemy here. But also in a supercar, the right foot is also one of your biggest enemies. That's actually one of my nicknames. Hello, Matt. I didn't even know you'd found this stream, but hello, Matt. Thanks for popping in. Oh no, the rest of them have popped in. Here we go. Here we go.
It's a pile on, and everybody's invited.
No, they done this to me on the weekend at the Southern Go-Kart Club while I was commentating too, just messaging me and harassing me up there. So I had to call them out and put them in their place, and I might have to do it again. But nah, again, quali was pretty woeful for me. Not too great, but yeah, it was just survive, get through cleanly. I knew people would have their own mistakes. I mean, obviously, like it's a street course. It's just how they go. I mean, I just missed one there on camera. I think he was actually reversing out. I nearly reported that one, but I survived, so I had no need to really. Right. But they were nearly happening every corner. 2 corners in a row they were. But yeah, race 2 was a lot better. I finished 4th in class in race 1. I went from 12th to 4th. And then race 2 was 4th to 1st, and I was 1st before turn 1. So yeah, that was just easy. Sort of just got to sit with the elite guys and not have to worry too much, from behind me. But I couldn't stick with them. So you were saying like, oh, when am I going to get bumped up? I hope never, because I cannot keep up with them. They are. You need to be a freak to drive these things, and I'm not freaky enough.
Fair point. Although that being said, if you're wrong with that statement, I'm sure your mates will correct you in the comment section.
Oh, they can't drive these things to save their life. Anyways, I still chop them any day.
Oh, I love it. It's interesting though, right? Because and I'll get Sharpie to ask you a question or two in a minute as well, and we'll soon wrap up and get out of here, folks. Don't mind me. I'm actually just trying to multitask as we go here, because I just realised I better put some washing on before I go to Sydney, and I'm trying to find the little cap that you put the washing powder into to tip it into the. And do you think I can find it? No. So
and you say I multitask with commentating and simmer and then going and driving. You're interviewing and doing your washing right now.
I know, it's horrible, isn't it? But see, the thing is this: if I don't remember, if I don't do it while I'm thinking of it, such as my short-term memory deterioration at the moment, that I will. It'll get to 2 o'clock and I'll be like, "What the hell am I doing?" There's a couple of people that are calling you a trophy hunter now, so this is going to be interesting. But no, I was going to say, with regards to your qualifying thing, that might be what saves you from eventual promotion up into the elite split. The fact that qualifying is your Achilles heel, that might just be enough to keep you down in the dev split for a little while.
Yeah, I can't hot lap for the life of me. It doesn't matter what you put me. I cannot hot lap. I've never been able to. I've always struggled at it. It is a mega skill issue. You're right, Harrison. But I know how to race, and clearly I raced my way up. I don't know if I was actually 0 incidents in both of them. I definitely whacked the wall a couple of times in the second race. It was very light. But yeah, it might be my savior, just being absolutely dog water at it. So yeah, I'll have to see, and I hope I don't. Like I said.
That was one of the things for you, I guess, in the sense that you went in mentally aware that there were going to be incidents, there was going to be trouble, but I guess also it's a lucky break when you can get through without being compromised or implicated in any of those whatsoever, mate. Sometimes you don't get that lucky. As you said, there were a couple of minor potential moments, but they didn't come to pass. So it's one of those situations where everything's fallen into place, and it's very rare you can say that about a street course.
Oh yeah, you've got to be so controlled within yourself, and I tried being controlled in that race, in race 1. You see on the replay there trying to pass Jeff, but it just wasn't enough. I had the elite guy up my clacker too, which didn't help me. It was a bit stressful. Kept nearly hitting that wall on the left. But nah, it's one of those things, But street courses, it doesn't matter what car you're in, they'll bite you if you're not paying attention. So, but luckily I love street courses. I gloat that Adelaide's the best street course in the world, and I will die saying that. So. Yeah, street courses I love.
So you're quite excited about the fact that Adelaide's on this schedule again this term, no doubt. What are your immediate thoughts on Phillip Island, though?
Oh, Phillip Island's an absolute magnificent circuit. I love it. It's a great place. I don't know how much I've lapped it in a supercar, but I'll get to some grips quick enough with it. I've been pretty good at adapting to things and tracks, so I'll probably just give myself half an hour of practice again and try and win that one from there.
Is that before you jump in for the BMW Commons?
Yeah, probably. If I have the day off work, yeah, I'll do that.
It'd have to be. It'd have to be because...
Yeah, I don't have enough time afterwards. I've got like 10 minutes.
That's right. We've got a Porsche Pro round next week, so you'll be head honcho, I would imagine, in the Commons box. And looking forward to listening back to your work after the fact as well. Dale, what have you got for our commentary colleague here, please?
Well, imagine if he did some practice or had any kind of preparation, like it would be quite daunting to jump out of the commentary box into qualifying around this concrete street canyon with that sort of stuff happening around you, to, like you say, to thread it through. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't, but to thread it through and come through with little to no practice. It was very good to see you get up there, and like you say, problem I have as well. You don't quite have the qualifying pace. You might be 2 seconds off, but then your race pace, you're a bit closer to the top guys, and yeah, you can race your way. You might not have the 1 lap pace, but you got the whole race to pull together, and you found yourself at the front. So well done.
Yeah, cheers, thank you. But yeah, I mean, practice is one of the things my mates always say I need to do, especially when we go do like our 12 hours or 24s. I'll still only go do half an hour of practice, and they absolutely hate me for it. But I still survive. I don't get that many incidents. I mean, sometimes I do kind of slap the car into a wall, but I kind of, unless I don't break the car, it's not a crash. That's what I say. But yeah, look, practice, I could definitely be better if I did practice, but I think I said this one of the other days, I can't be bothered with practicing. I've done karting for 11 years. I went practicing, and I was always on track every weekend trying to figure stuff out. I just have a simulator to have fun. So that's what it is for me. But yeah, I know if I practice, I'd be a bit better. But then I don't know if you guys can see these things, but like my I rating is 3.7k. So most people would be like, oh, 3.7, yeah, they're gonna be fast. A lot of my mates that are even like 2k, even some of these guys that are trying to talk smack to me, some of them are like 1300, so they're not that great. I'm more than triple than them. But they can still race me. Yeah, put them in their place. Yeah, but they'll still beat me in other things. But the reason, what I want to get to here is, you look at iRating and people are like, oh, they're ... they're so fast or they're so slow. It's not necessarily about that. It's like I feel like for me, my iRating more reflects the race awareness and racecraft and things like that. Sure, I may not have the pace, but I'm aware of what's around me. I'm conscious that I need to be 5% less in certain times of a race, and that will give me a result later on. And then that's where the result comes from just being aware of what's going on and working with it, and you go from there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, and like you say, it's there's a lot going on. It's all happening really fast, and I hear you when it comes to practice. I'm probably the same. I struggle to sit down and grind some practice, but then I get annoyed when you get about halfway through race 2, and then you start to figure something out that possibly you would have if you did some practice. But it's hard to get your brain onto just running laps on your own. But it's again, it's another mental struggle. But I'm definitely, being an Adelaide boy that hasn't really missed many Adelaide 500s, I'm definitely with you with the Adelaide Street Circuit, and
good boy. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. I might be of the minority that is not excited about MotoGP because they're changing the track, and I don't like it. And, I'm not happy about it.
Well, you've made an interesting point there, haven't you? Because I don't know how you feel about it, Jordan, but I can't.
I'm no tree hugger.
No, well, I can't see any way in which they would retain the supercar configuration of the course, if they've got to make changes to accommodate MotoGP, I think Supercars is going to have to go and run on the new layout.
I mean, I don't know. It depends how they put in the. I didn't mean to, Matt. Shut up. Oh my God, I did not mean to. I do apologise, Dale. But with the MotoGP track, yeah, thank God. I lost my train of thought. With the MotoGP, it depends where. I mean, obviously we've seen the layout and what they want to add and where, but it just depends. Are they going to make like that layout that it follows sort of at like the current turn 4 and the bit of the staircase bit?
Yeah.
Is some of that going to get reprofiled as the main street?
well.
Will the street be profiled, and will the street have an extra turning lane somewhere, or what? Because otherwise it could just be an extra bit of pavement that MotoGP decides to use once a year, and the street course stays exactly the way it is, and V8s is no change.
They haven't exactly given us all the details. They kind of hinted at the fact that that current layout is gonna go in favour of the MotoGP track, but they haven't officially announced that.
Yeah.
It's not so much the street aspect of the circuit, boys. It's that last sector, the reprofiling of that, because where the current main straight is, that's going over to the other side to where what we now refer to as the last corner is going to be. So that's going to be the main straight going forward. So it's that reprofiling. I'm interested to see how they go about that, whether they're going to put extra bitumen in there, like what you've got, say, at Motorland Aragon, where the last corner for the bikes is different to the last corner for the cars, that sort of thing. It's going to be very interesting. I have other concerns with regards to the street circuit aspect of it, but that's for another day.
When you consider, it's all a bit ridiculous when you've got the bend an hour up the road. Why the hell wouldn't you just race in there?
Well, the World Superbikes are going there, but I think they're more concerned about, as you guys know, the location of the bend being in the middle of Whoop Whoop. So they're obviously trying to lure people in to somewhere that has the eateries, the pubs, the accommodations, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. There wasn't
there's an on-the-run servo outside with a Hungry Jack's involved.
There's a servo outside the track. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'll go Hungry Jack's. Don't worry about that. I'm not upmarket enough to knock back Hungry Jack's. I don't mind that at all. But I get why they would. The World Supers will be interesting, though. I mean, whether or not it's the right choice for the Supers, that circuit, we'll wait and see, because we'll find out in 2028. So we get MotoGP 27 in Adelaide, and then 28 the bend for the World Superbikes. So that 3-4 month period is going to be very, very interesting. And also, of course, what the turnaround time is going to be. It looks as though there'll be a week on for the MotoGP, then there'll be an off weekend to set everything up, and then the supercars the following weekend. So you may see. I think they run like an Adelaide Rally, don't they, around the same time? That might wedge in the middle. I'm not sure.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Which they've actually got the rally on at the Adelaide 500 this year in the in front of the grandstand now, instead of the motocross. The Australia Rally Championships taking place of the motocross this year.
Yes, with some super stage stuff, which is going to be very interesting as well. Not that we're sitting here being tourism advocates for South Australia. Yes, I feel as though South Australia's received more positive airtime out of the GSRC tonight than it has for the last 3 years. But that's another story for another day. At least the only thing going for you guys is at that time of the year, it's bound to be a little bit warmer than it is down there right now. So that's
most definitely
that's a plus. Very nicely done. So Jordan, you're looking forward to Phillip Island, but also tomorrow night as well. And Sharpie, you'll be back in the cockpit tomorrow night at some point, will you please?
Tomorrow night, Thursday nights I usually can't get on, but duty one's Friday night. Quite possibly duty one's Friday night. I'll be back in the Aston for that.
Very good. And Andrew Neil will be in with me tomorrow night for the main course for the Porsche Cup, which is also a sprint round from Watkins Glen. Jordan, are you doing the double tomorrow night?
Yes, sir. Yep. Formula V's for sure. I'm fifth in the standings, so I'll keep trying to push and stay in the top 5, and then P Cups as well. I'm trying to get a couple of these these smelly guys in the group chat, talking smack to me, because they're always greasy and sweaty at the go-kart track. So I'm trying to get a couple of them in the P Cups. So hopefully I've twisted their arms to do so. I've made them a couple of liveries as well. Did that without them knowing. So hopefully that done a little convincing. I don't know how much it really does, but I'll be in the double tomorrow, and then hopefully I can do IndyCars as well, because I've been wanting to do them.
Now, don't knock it until you see it. Thank you, Tyler. The Formula V's are compulsory viewing, must watch, value for ticket of admission sort of territory. That one, no doubt about that. The other thing too, with regards to all of that, I love how you've been looking after these blokes, albeit without them knowing, and all they're doing is in here just piling on. What are friends for? Very, very nicely done. Dale, just quickly before I do wrap this baby up and let Andrew Neil go and get some beauty sleep, and obviously go and attend to my washing and everything else. That's
not me, by the way. Attending to your washing.
No. That's me attending.
You got to put the punctuation in there.
I was going to say I did make reference to it earlier that I had to put it on, so I think people would know that I'm not sending my washing in a air parcel bloody bag down to your neck of the woods. How slack would that be? I mean, it'd be very convenient because I am going down to Sydney this weekend, but still, it's not no. Hey, listen, final thoughts from you, Dale Sharp, because I never got a chance to come back and actually ask you about what you made of the BMW racing at Road America, mate.
Oh, it was busy. Like I said, I find myself right in the middle, and it's really good fun. I'm of the minority. I like the car. Like ever since I've been on iRacing, just the BMW, just a car that sort of suits my driving style, and I enjoy racing it. And like I said, it didn't matter whether you were 25th, you were fighting for 24th, and you had someone in your mirror fighting you, and it was. That's how you learn your racecraft. I like those big fields. We had nearly 40 cars and just in the middle fighting for it. It's just good fun racing. Had a really good battle in race 1 with Greg, like you mentioned earlier, and then in race 2, Eduardo Zamora. Shout out to him. Again, we were having the World Championship for 19th place in that last race of the last few laps, and rubbed a bit of paint, rubbed a bit of panels, but like we saw in the Supercars tonight, no one wrecked each other. It was just good hard racing. It was a lot of side by side and a lot of fun.
A lot of fun indeed, and that's the principle of it at the end of the day. Would we be here if it wasn't fun? Absolutely bloody not. And it's still fun 6.5 years later. Andrew Neil, some final thoughts from you, please, because with the commentary box full of commentators tonight, you've barely got a word in. Very good effort, I thought, from Dale Sharp, and very good effort from Jordan Pianazzola, who tore it to shreds last week as well. Great to have a couple of new voices in the booth on a regular basis. But from your standpoint, did you get itchy feet at any point tonight, or were you quite content with the fact that you're on the safer side of the barriers?
I will never get itchy feet for the V8s, that's for sure. Go out there in a GT3 though.
What about the BMW? Because we know Jordan doesn't like it, but Dale actually doesn't mind it.
Yeah, no, you can have that.
Yeah, good boy. Yeah, I love that, Andrew. I nearly done it again, Matt. I nearly done it again.
I was going to say, Jordan's opinion of the BMW is vastly different to
Oh, yeah, those things.
Like we had a conversation in the Discord chat this week. Like for me, it's the Porsche. I don't like the car. I don't like the company. I don't like people that choose to drive them, and it seems like you're the same with the BMW.
Yeah, if people want to know, I actually said to Dale that because he said, "Oh, we should get you in the BMW, Jordan." I was like, "Oh, nah, you can buy me a 2-story house. I want a nice garden and a pool as well. If not, no BMW, thanks."
Oh, that's a fair call. We know your disdain for it, so no, that's a totally fair call. I'll pay that every day of the week. Very well done, gentlemen. Great to have your company throughout the course of the evening. Great effort as always. Well done with your respective on-track results as well, particularly you, Jordan. Pleasing result for you, no doubt, and hopefully bodes well for the circuits that we're on throughout the course of the balance of the campaign that aren't of the street variety as well. I know you're looking forward particularly to Adelaide, but obviously a little bit of room to work with when we go to Phillip Island and to Sebring, and then we go back to sprint racing for a couple of weeks. But how lucky are you? Obviously, Qualcomm, Coronado, San Diego, that's going to be the interesting one there in round number 7. That's the new one that everyone's been talking about, and bumpy as all buggery. But you blokes get 2 home rounds in the space of 3 weeks. Then we go to Road America, which is always a favourite, and even in the Supercar produces a classic. We saw the sort of top shelf racing it provided us with from an entertainment standpoint tonight in the BMWs. And then, of course, more concrete canyon racing on the streets of Long Beach with an invert top 8 and an invert top 12 to contend with as well. If there ain't fireworks that night, I'm not here. September 9, we're looking forward to that. So there you have it. Very well done, boys. Thank you for your efforts as always. And we hope that, as we say, that bodes well for your respective campaigns going forward. And thank you to Andrew Neil for pushing the buttons throughout the course of the evening. And thanks to everybody for persevering with me, because I've somewhat struggled to put my words together this evening. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board and try and get a better grasp of the English language before tomorrow night when we're back with you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. But we do it with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophi.AI, merch.GSRC.in, and Flash Graphics. You'll note that there are some changes on the horizon with GT3. We detailed them on Monday night, and it's already in our Discord thread as to what that looks like going forward. There's what's coming your way. Donington Park tomorrow night for the Formula V's with thanks to Disruptive Labs on the national layout. 3 sprint races, 7:25 Eastern Standard Time. Make a note of that. Then we go to the Watkins Glen International Raceway in upstate New York. So back to the States after a full night of racing in the States tonight. We're back there tomorrow night for the main course. And it is sprint racing in the Porsches. It's invert top 10 for the second race. It's 8:40 Eastern Standard Time. The fields this year have been enormous, and we know the high volume of carnage that normally arrives when we go racing at Watkins Glen. So cue the fireworks tomorrow night. I'll be here in every sense of the word. 5 races for the price of 2. 7:25 we're with you. 8:45 is when the Porsches get underway. Friday night, broadcast is to be confirmed. That's exactly right. To be determined, to be advised, all those things. Joe Baldwin, his availability hinges on whether or not we'll be able to actually bring the GT1s to you. The Civil War is live from Donington Park. If we do bring it to you, it'll be 7:30 Eastern Standard Time for a 40-minute race, and then we go on to Barber Motorsport Park, and that'll be a beauty as well. 48 laps of IndyCar from 8:40 Eastern, and Ethan's the one they're all trying to catch at the moment. I'm not sure they can. Friday night will go a long way to determining just how quickly he could potentially wrap up that championship. There's no doubt about that. When we're here on Friday night, and by the way, the main course is live irrespective of whether we bring the GT1 or not. IndyCar is live in all markets around Australia. We're live from 8:30 with the race start at 8:45, and of course a wheel spin before that to determine the venue of choice, or the car of choice for mountain men from the same venue as always, Mount Panorama Bathurst, 32 laps there, 200 kilometres, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Saturday night. So we're looking forward to that, determining the car of choice with the wheel spin. And if we don't have the race coverage from the GT1, we'll have the race results there as well. But we'll be getting on air early, 8:30, 8:35-ish, ready for an 8:45 start, or 65 minutes for that race of IndyCar. Whichever comes first, it'll either be the 48 laps or the 65 minutes. And it'll be great. It'll be terrific to bring all that to you on the platforms of the GSRC and, of course, post-race show. And also we're looking forward to that. Barber, always a favourite stop on the tour. Next week, I'll be fresh back from Sydney. Formula Renault 3.5, Wings and Slicks with Thanks to Waste Options Monday night. Red Bull Ring sprint racing there as well, 7:25 Eastern Standard Time. Now, make a note of this, and I mentioned it earlier, and I'm hoping the document's still open so I can go back to it. Yes, it is. Adelaide is the venue for Waste Options GT3, but it's not the AM split. I can guarantee you that. It is the silver and the bronze and gold splits. So that is what was known as Social Club for the last couple of weeks. So that's the 4th tier and the 2nd tier. That'll be bronze and gold. Those changes are already readily available within Discord to determine or to remind you guys what your split was and what it's about to be named. But that is essentially Social Club and Pro-Am that we're bringing you next week. And in bronze and gold, guys, from the Adelaide Parkland Street Circuit, the first sprint round of the season in Waste Options GT3, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're with you from 7:25, and it's a full night of sprint racing, which we're looking forward to. The Grand Course, the big baby at Virginia International Raceway on Tuesday night for the committee choice, and that's the Indian XT cars. 2 sprint races there and a full reverse grid. Oh, geez, cue the fireworks, cue the carnage. At 7 p.m, that server opens, Eastern Standard Time. And then Wednesday night, the boys will be here in my absence for a tear around Spa, a pair of 40-minute races. Firstly, Spa for the merch.tgsrci.com BMW Motorsport Cup. And then, of course, on to the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. And we're looking forward to that. 8:40 Eastern Standard Time for the latest round and the latest 40-minute race in the Supercar series with thanks to Trophi.AI, the Elite and the Dev split there for you. Live, exclusive and free. I was going to say the numbers in the Porsche series this season have been absolutely extraordinary. They've been off the chart. They've been through the roof. They've been immense. They've been terrific. Let's hope that continues tomorrow night for our first sprint round of the season at Watkins Glen. And the IndyCar racing has been top shelf as well. We've had a street course, we've had an oval, now we get a road course, a proper purpose-built permanent circuit. So we'll have ticked all 3 boxes in the first 3 weeks, and we're very excited about that. So that is on Friday night for you, and as I say, 8:30 ready for 8:45, unless we do get a chance to bring you GT1, in which case it's 7:25 Eastern. But I'm not disappointed either way, which way we land on that one, because Friday's busy enough already. GSRC merch.myshopify.com, merch.tgsrci.com, whichever one you type into your search bar, ladies and gentlemen, takes you to the same place. That is our merch store. Great range available there, available to get your hands on and purchase. Support the club that supports you and keeps you entertained up to 4 nights a week. Merch.tgsrci.com. Bucket hats, stubby coolers, bottle openers, shirts, singlets, and even the hoodie. All available in the merch store for your purchase. So
there was actually a bit of talk, Zach, about updating the GSRC bingo top to include a few more of your sayings in there.
Oh, apparently so. Yeah. Apparently, yes.
Yeah.
I did have that conversation. But...
Yes.
We thought we needed to add something about the road to Cessnock and driving like a bat out of hell.
Yeah.
And championship implications definitely needed an appearance on it. I think that shirt was made back in the TCR days. I reckon Chris Whitaker might have been the one that started that one.
Yeah, he was the instigator. By the way, he celebrated a milestone birthday recently. I had no idea that he was turning 40. I didn't even get a Guernsey to the birthday party, but that's okay. Happy birthday to C. Whitaker for turning the big 4-0. All downhill from there, they say. And Matt Brown just giving you a pat on the back, Jordan, as we sign off on a Wednesday night, saying great race. Well done to all and sundry. agree. I do agree. In fact, you know what, Dale? It'll be like when you go and play bingo. There'll be different versions of the bingo card in the months and weeks and years to come. So it'll all have different expressions and sayings and whatever on there. There'll be some overlap, obviously, but it'll be whoever can tick off a row or a line
I can
first.
definitely see there'll be a Monday night version and a Thursday night version, and put it to the brains trust of the club, and we'll make it happen.
You can buy one. Depending upon which night you're tuning in, I'm all for that. I didn't realise that was going to take off the way that it did, but they really extracted the what out of that one when they got an opportunity to do so. And we actually sat in here one night and brainstormed what should be on there and what shouldn't be. And obviously there was one of the first things that was mentioned was all over him like a cheap suit and daylight savings. So yes. I'll be taking off like a scalded cat to Cessnock. Scalded cat's one that I got from, I reckon I stole that from Mike Raymond, the late great Mike Raymond. But yes, it's like a bull at the gates, etc. and so forth. We've got all these different analogies at our disposal. You can only reinvent them so often, and as long as they still make sense, then go for it. So we're done. We can sign off. We're going to wrap it up. We sincerely hope that you've enjoyed Wednesday Night Motorsport live, exclusive and free across the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. I didn't go around the grounds tonight. There's one you haven't been able to tick off your bingo card, ladies and gentlemen. But if I was to do so, I'd be steering you in the direction of Le Tour de France, because that is underway on SBS right now and continues right through to the early hours of tomorrow morning. And, of course, we had the cricket earlier in the day with the 100 getting underway in the United Kingdom, and also, of course, the New Zealanders wrapping up their series against the West Indies. It was the 5th one-day international, and the Windies actually got the job done, but New Zealand had already won the series 3-2. And as far as the rest of it's concerned, there's not much to speak about in terms of international cricket at the moment. It was all played, as I say, in the early hours of this morning. Zimbabwe and India coming up next, believe it or not. Zimbabwe and India, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. I don't know if we'll be going around the grounds for that one. We'll have the NRL and the AFL to go with instead. So, this sporting marathon continues. Commonwealth Games coming up Friday morning, but we're here all year long. Hope you enjoyed Wednesday Night Motorsport across Facebook and YouTube. My thanks to Andrew Neal, Jordan Pianazzola, Dale Sharp, and the rest of the broadcast commentary and production team here. We're back here tomorrow night for Formula V and the Porsches. 5 races on the program, each one of them expected to be as exciting as the one that precedes it or follows it. It should be compulsory viewing from first until last tomorrow night. Very, very good value for coin tomorrow night. Well worth the price of admission and the ticket that goes with it. We look forward to your company for that. Then the IndyCar on Friday night. As I say, we'll get on air. We'll bring you the results from GT1. We'll do the wheel spin all before we get going with the IndyCar race. Post-race show to follow as per usual. And we hope you'll join us as Term 3 rolls on. Night 2 of our coverage, but night 3, because we had the committee series racing last night. Night 3 of week 3 of Term 3. The triple threes done and dusted. We look forward to your company tomorrow night for the hottest ticket in town, Donington National and Watkins Glen. Until then, enjoy what's left of your Wednesday evening, ladies and gentlemen. Half an hour longer for those blokes in South Australia than it is for us on the eastern seaboard at the moment, but I won't be crowing about that for too long because daylight savings on the horizon. We look forward to your company tomorrow night. Until then, I'm Zach Caben. Enjoy your evening and have a great day tomorrow. Come back and join us tomorrow night. Bye for now.